Ladies and gentlemen, it is the moment you've been waiting for. We have been hyping this show up for the last couple months or so. It is time for, well, not quite time yet, but it is time for our official 2026 season preview. We are about a week or so away from opening day, or at least the opening day. I believe there's the Giants and the Yankees doing the Tokyo games first here in about a week or so.
Should be soon. Should be this. Is it not this weekend? It's usually before all the other opening days.
It's sometime soon. I believe if my memory serves correct, it's either towards the end of this weekend or at the beginning of next week. So
I thought it was this weekend.
So I mean, hey, we're getting real baseball here pretty soon, so we might as well go ahead and do our official season preview. Reminder, we are simulcasting both on Let's Talk Sports and Rec Room Sports. Rec Room's going to become our permanent home here pretty soon. We just got a workshop and title, figure out what the show's going to be called. I'll probably get with you and Scott on coming up with a name about that too, so be brainstorming just in case. But yeah, and also this might be my final show in this apartment because I plan on moving soon. So I'm going to be moving to Norman, which is kind of closer to some family. I know it's ironic given that I'm a Sooner fan, but my new job is in Norman, and I'd rather not drive an hour to work every day. So
I don't blame you. I mean, I have in a small little town of Beeville, Texas. I have such a long commute of 2 blocks. So,
I mean,
no, but that's great. Congratulations on a new job, though, man. That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time, and I love it too. I love what I get to do. And it's a job that kind of pushes me a little bit to get better and better every day. So I love that about it. So, but yeah, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. Obviously, we're going to give our official preview of the season, talk about all 6 divisions. But at the same time, we're also going to be talking about the thing that just happened over this past weekend, that being the World Baseball Classic. Congratulations to Team Venezuela for their championship run. Not only defeating Team USA in the final, but in the semifinal, defeating Team Japan, which was kind of the shocker to me. As we bring in the Hall of Famer himself, Scott Cove. Gentlemen, I'll ask you this as your first question. How impressed were you with Team Venezuela in the WBC this run?
I have no comment.
Well, I'm very I was very impressive. But here, this is my thing, and I put this on Facebook a second ago, or not the second, last night after the game is my reaction to this. I'm not shocked. Like I don't like that. There's like these commentators and pundits are going around saying this was an upset. Like baseball is such a global sport that there is so much talent around the world that come and play Major League Baseball, and there's and guys on Team Venezuela that play in the Japanese league. Like they're good for a reason. Like, and that's why I kind of feel like people just don't underestimate how the talent is around the world. Because if you go to the NBA and you have the Olympics that take place, it's USA versus the world. Like there's 1 or 2 teams maybe in the Olympics that can compete for a period or two against Team USA in basketball. The World Baseball Classic, you could pick 6 or 7 teams that can win and really go toe-to-toe with Team USA or anybody that way. So I'm not shocked that we're talking about Team Venezuela beating the United States. That's a loaded team, just like the Dominican was a loaded team, like Japan was a loaded team, Italy, a loaded team. Mexico had a lot of good players on it. Like this is not a shock that Venezuela beat the United States. I think and we got what we wanted. It was a great final and a great tournament. This was outstanding. The winner of the WBC in the grand scheme is baseball. This was this is what we keep when we envisioned the WBC to be when they came up with it, 20 years ago, was how we are doing this now. This was amazing.
This guy over there shaking your head. What you got?
No, I'm just kidding. First of all, second of all, do we subscribe to the theory? I heard this on a local radio station today. Do we subscribe to the theory that these countries around the world live and die with this, but the U.S. players don't really live and die with this? Do we subscribe to that? I don't subscribe to it. I don't think so, but you bring up Tarek Skubal, who could have pitched in this final, so to speak, and he decided not to. I guess the Padres sent word to DeRosa that Mason Miller should not pitch or would not pitch last night and was not available. Do we think these teams in the Major League Baseball just meddle in this too much instead of letting players just play?
In the grand scheme, yes, because there is a financial investment still with these guys for their teams that they're contracted to play for.
I get that.
And I think you could look at your team, Puerto Rico, who didn't have Francisco Lindor. You didn't have 2 or 3 of your guys that you were hoping to have. Dominican Republic was short a couple guys as well. United States, they wanted Mike Trout to play. They wanted Mike Trout to play, and Trout didn't get the insurance involved. To be able to play. So there is a lot. There is a lot that is hindering a lot of these players. To answer the question of it, yes, I think you have it's a split. I think you have a group of people that truly respect and understand how important it is to wear the 3 letters across your chest, USA, and represent your country in this game. And then you have the group that's, well, hey, it's not what I'm being paid to do. I'm paid to play Major League Baseball. I'm paid to compete for a World Series. That has my mentality my mindset more important than playing in a World Baseball Classic that they view almost as an exhibition. I think that you have the Latino countries. I'll speak really for the Latino because there's a couple kids that from Venezuela, and I have 2 kids from Venezuela here at Coastal Bend, and one of them wore his Venezuela team shirt all practice. I have not heard it hasn't been nonstop for both of them. But I'll say those countries, the Latino countries, there is so much pride to play for their country that I think that's something that we're missing as a grand scheme of American-born players. I think you have guys like Bryce Harper, guys like Aaron Judge, guys like Bobby Witt Jr., who understand and respect what that uniform represents. And then you have guys like Tarek Skubal who go, hey, I'll show up. I'll pitch one time. My mindset's really for my regular season, and I'm going to go from there. I can respect that. I understand it because that's what he's paid to do is pitch for the Tigers. And by the way, he went through arbitration. He still doesn't have a long-term contract. So obviously his mentality is important, is more for what he does in the regular season in Major League Baseball. Yep. I can understand that. Would it have been great to see Tarek Skubal pitch in the final? 100%. Absolutely. No. And I think that's where I would say, for me personally, if you're asking my opinion, I'm looking at Tarek. If I'm on a team different from the Tigers, and I go and we're all supposed to be like, hey, we're all part of the fraternity of Major League Baseball. I'm telling them, disappointed. I am disappointed you didn't come out to pitch. You showed up to be there, then you should have been able to pitch. Right. You needed. I mean, that's your chance. You're the second. You're one of the top pitchers in the game. You won the Cy Young. I mean, you're there. What could you have done for us? Nothing against Nolan McLean, but what could you have done for us that would have meant so much to our to be able to have you on the mound, and what our mentality is? That would have been a huge boost for Team USA. So I would look at Tarek and say, I'm disappointed, man, that you didn't do what you wanted to do or you didn't do what we needed you to do. You did what you wanted to do, and It didn't help us in this tournament. This is not an exhibition. I want people to stop. I want for us as a country, we need to get rid of the World Baseball Classic as an exhibition tournament. This is if we want to win it in 4 years. Because I think the next one's supposed to be 2030, since the Olympics is in 2028. They're giving it an extra year between. If we want to win in 2030, we need to look at it and say, this is a real tournament that we need to go out and win and compete and win. It's not an exhibition. So until we get rid of that mentality, we're not going to be successful. And we get guys who understand what representing those 3 letters on the chest truly means with pride.
There's Nick.
So hey Nick, what's up? Here's a theory that was floated today that I kind of was like, that's kind of interesting. Split the Major League Baseball season into 2 81-game seasons. Have a 2-week break in between when the World Baseball Classic year comes up, and put it in that 2-week break period, so that players have played 81 games. Instead of putting it at the beginning of the season, put it in the middle of the season. During the All-Star, you have the All-Star game. You still have the home run derby, stuff like that. Put the World Baseball Classic in that time frame, in that 2-week time frame, and play it there instead of at the beginning of the season. I don't think it works, but it's an interesting theory that I've never heard floated before that kind of was like, I wonder if the players would go for that and play in that time frame instead of at the beginning of the season where they've already played 81 games. I've never heard this idea floated before. I don't know that it would work, but it's an interesting theory that's been floated out there in terms of, okay, we're going to play an 81-game season, have a 2-week break, and then you're going to play another 81 games after the All-Star break in the World Baseball Classic. Don't know if it'll work, but it's an interesting theory that was floated out there.
I don't like doing, again, because if you put it in the middle, I think if you put it in the middle of the season, you're going to have more people opt out not to play. Because teams now, you really have teams sitting there. If we're talking about, some teams are just like, hey, we're going to protect our guys because we don't want them, we don't want them to get hurt or something like that in the beginning of the season. When you're in the middle of if you're the Yankees or the Dodgers, if you're the Dodgers, do you want Shohei to play in the middle of the season when you're on the run? No. So leave it alone. Leave the tournament alone. Because here's the thing for me. These two weeks just created such a buzz of energy and electricity going into the season. Now you have such high intrigue going into the regular season now. So I leave it alone. Do not move it to the summer because I don't want I want Ohtani playing. I want Bobby Witt Jr. playing. I want these superstars playing, and it's easier for them to do it where they have all off season to prepare and train and get themselves, when they go to spring training, to ready themselves to then go play, instead of get beaten up for the first half of the season and then go play in a tournament and then go back to you're creating such a hassle. You're creating a Pandora's box that does not need to be put in place. So leave it alone. I love it in March because it sets the tone for what the regular season is going to be right now.
And by the way, before you go, Alan, the best team in the World Baseball Classic won it. Venezuela was the best team. They won it. Congrats. Mm-hmm. I don't care what people say, but the USA was not the best team in the tournament. Venezuela was. Venezuela deserved to win it, and they won it last night. Congratulations. Eduardo Rodriguez. We haven't seen that Eduardo Rodriguez in years, and he pitched a gem last night. So congrats. And where did he start his career, by the way? He's going to Atlanta, so don't worry. You'll get
Well, I think, like I said, I loved every second of this tournament. What it was, this was the greatest of all what we've had so far. This was the best one of all the WBCs we've had,
Yes.
and this was the greatest tournament that you could put together. That's comparable to what the NBA has, or for the Olympics, or their play-in, or not the play-in, their
That's a
NBA,
stupid tournament.
the NBA
Yeah,
Cup. Like, this was absolutely phenomenal.
Mhm.
And kudos. I know we kill Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball for a lot of the decisions they make. When Major League Baseball came up with the World Baseball Classic back in it was in 02, they did it in 03 for the first time.
Mhm.
This was the greatest decision that they've made. Everything about this year's tournament was electric. I get goosebumps. I don't know about you guys. That pregame introduction to the championship,
phenomenal. I watched it again.
I've been watching it all day.
Yeah.
I watched it numerous times last night after the game. I've been watching it all day. I get goosebumps. That is amazing. The production of that was phenomenal. Nothing's going to top that. I don't care what the Super Bowl does. I don't care what the NBA All-Star Game does, or the finals, or anything like that. What Major League Baseball, Fox Sports, everybody, how they produce that will never be topped.
Whoever's name is on that deserves a huge raise, because that was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Great job. Rob Manfred couldn't even screw that up last night. Phenomenal.
Wow, like I said, I
will say, though, but my favorite part of the whole tournament was just watching Team Italy. Team Italy was just a fun team to watch. I loved every second of it. Scott loved it because half the players are all Chicago White Sox, so that helps his bet.
So let me ask you guys. I made a post about this too. Let me ask you guys, because one thing I watching how the tournament was played out with all these different cultures of baseball. I know a lot of social media posts and even some of the media have been killing USA for almost this business style of how they are and play.
Yeah.
Is there a point that we as a country, as baseball, as United States baseball fans, as United States baseball players, as United States baseball culture, is there a point where we do need to evolve to where this business mentality probably needs to go away? I look at it and say, man, the team Venezuela, it looked like a party every time every time something happened. They were just fun. It looked fun. It looked like it was just a lot of energy. But here's the thing, why I also say it too, because we grew up in this old school mentality that if you do something in some capacity, it's out of the norm, there's always going to be retaliation. There's no more retaliation in baseball. It's not even looked at as disrespectful when you do a bat flip.
Everybody's friends, and they do so much stuff in the offseason together. It's like, okay, that's my buddy. I'm not going to go after him.
So could we evolve as a country in baseball where maybe the fun, active, energetic needs to be the norm for us as USA baseball? And I think to a certain, you can't beat Max Clark doing some of the things that these guys are doing because you haven't earned the opportunity to do it. Ronald Acuna can do whatever he wants in baseball.
Oh, no doubt.
Miguel Garcia, I think at this point he can do whatever he wants. Vlad Guerrero Jr., these guys who have been if you establish yourself and you want to bat flip the ball, if you want to throw the bat up 100 feet up in the air and do a cartwheel down first base line, I think at this point I'm being a traditionalist. I'm okay with it now. I feel like after watching all this and how it is, and I played in Puerto Rico, I got to see it firsthand and what the culture looks like in the Latino community. It was an adjustment for sure for me. I was so out of my element, but it looked fun. Nothing that was disrespectful to me or anything like that. So now I'm kind of looking at it and say, should we lighten up on how we view that style of the game and allow more of that here in the United States?
Go ahead, Alan, and then I'll go.
Absolutely. As somebody who grew up in that kind of community, it was always fun. It was always fun to do that because obviously, me being half Hispanic, I had Hispanic neighbors growing up, especially when we lived in Guyman. Baseball was like the be all end all for most of us, and it was one of the things where it just made you feel like a kid again. Like even to this day, like watching baseball, it just kind of makes you feel like a kid again. Like and I agree with you, Jonathan. I think we need more of that back because we just need to make the game fun. A lot of these guys don't think it's fun; they just think of it as a job. And where you say, yeah, guys from Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, all these other countries, they're playing the game like they're having fun.
But yeah, I agree. It's a job here, but it's a lifestyle that they have back home. Isaac's one of my players here at Coastal Bend, and here's the difference. Isaac, you've heard me say this though. When you're in the big leagues and you get paid what to do, and you get paid millions of dollars, you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely, no question.
Can't do it in college. Sorry.
No question. So here's my thing. I'll go back to. They had audio of Aaron Judge's, because he was the team captain, of his speech. And it was just like an all business speech. It wasn't a fiery speech. It wasn't that. It was just, sometimes I think some of these players lose sight of what this is. It's a game. And they played it all their lives, and they had fun with it growing up. But I think they think when they get to Major League, they have to become all business instead of letting loose and having fun. This was the type of tournament where you should let loose and have some fun. Look at all the other teams: Venezuela, Italy, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, all these other countries. What do they have in common? They look like they were enjoying themselves and having fun. And the U.S. just looked like, oh, we're on a business trip. We'll go win the game. It's a business trip.
Yeah, but Scott,
have fun.
What team does Aaron Judge play for in Major League Baseball?
I know that the second most hated team that we.
That's just the mentality.
It's drilled into them by Jeter and Rivera and Posada and all of them guys. So
correct. So I think that's where the personality goes from that.
Yeah, and Schwarb is another guy. He played with the Cubs, a historical franchise in Major League Baseball. But they're about all business, actually. These historic Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers, Yankees. It's all about getting the win, being about business-like about it. I just think the U.S. was the outlier in this tournament where they were just like, this is a business trip. We're going to win it. It's no fun. We got all the pressure on us, maybe, stuff like that. Let's go just win it, and we can have fun after we win it. So
I think you can be both, though. Like
you can. I agree.
You're there to compete. If that's your mentality, man, we're here to win. Like you got to have that mentality to go compete. But man, let it loose a little bit. Let it loose, let it out. You're representing USA. You're showing who your culture is as a baseball. That's as a baseball player. So maybe that's why I kind of looked at maybe we do need to evolve a little bit more. I think this old school mentality is especially if you're Major League Baseball wanting the younger fan base. I guarantee you here in America, you're in the U.S. If you have a general fan that's 16 to 25, and they watch the World Baseball Classic, I guarantee you they watch Team Venezuela and Team Dominican and Team Puerto Rico a whole lot more than they watched USA play.
No doubt.
There was so much energy involved. It got the attention of them more so than what USA did. So if you're wanting that fan base, which is what they're needing, Major League Baseball needs that young fan base. Maybe we do need to change in as far as how we view ourselves and let things be a little bit more fun.
By the way, I loved how William Abreu played in the World Baseball Classic. I'm all about these Red Sox players. Red Sox players, Roman Anthony, Abreu, Bayo had a great start. I mean, I'm excited about the Red Sox this year. I'm not saying they're going to win anything, but I'm just excited going into the season that these guys played well. So,
well, we'll get into that here in a minute, Scott. We'll get into that here in a minute when we do our preview stuff. But Jonathan, you mentioned in our group chat here, there's some guys you'd like to see in the next WBC. Obviously we got a lot of future stars coming up, guys. We saw Paul Skeens, we saw Bobby Witt, but guys like Wyatt Langford, obviously out of the Texas Rangers, and a couple others who you have in mind for being in the next WBC for Team USA.
So I know this is we're a ways away and everything, but I think the younger generation of players that are coming up that are we're in a very big influx of talent, especially that are in the 23 to 27-year-old range right now. That could be huge, in the development if they continue. We're talking about 3-4 years down the road, that if their development continues in the trajectory that they think, we're talking about like these young guys, these young kids who are going to be bona fide superstars, this next generation, this next wave of American ball players. Because again, I think you look at it, Bryce Harper's not playing in the next one. He's 34 years old, so you're talking about in 3 or 4 years to be 37. I can see that he may want to and kind of be what Goldschmidt was this year. That veteran that wants one more crack to win it kind of thing. But let's just say if he's not, because he's on the older side, then we say, hey, yeah, we'll kind of move on from him. I know Schwarber probably the other one who's in his early to mid 30s right now. By that point, he'll be towards the back end of it. I think I think you have to look into where the younger side of things is. So I kind of put it out there. The guys who are returning, obviously Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is going to be on this World Baseball Classic team for probably 3 times, and he will be he'll be the captain of the pitching staff, and he'll probably be the flag bearer in the next time that they get to it, just because of who he is, his military background at the Air Force Academy, and going before he transferred to LSU. So, and just how he speaks about representing USA, him and Bobby Witt Jr. should be the 2 captains of the next round of the next USA team. But I'll go down the list. I looked at it and say, where do we go with these young pitchers and these young players? I said Paul Skeens would be the ace of it. I would try to get Garrett Crochet to be one of the pitchers on this. I think you need a stud lefty who that's going to create a lot of problems on some of these big bats that are out on these teams that are the Dominican, Venezuela, Japan. Hunter Green would be one that I would look at.
Before you go on, when's the next World Baseball Classic?
So I've been hearing different things. I haven't looked at it, but obviously it's every 3 years. But I thought I heard a rumor saying that they're going to push to 2030 because the Olympics is in 2028, and they're trying to get baseball players to play. They're trying to get the MLB players to play in the Olympics, and they want to give it a gap in between. So it's either 2029 or 2030.
Okay, so it's 2030. Crochet will be part of the Braves rotation. So
yes, he will be. Yes, he will.
No worries there.
But Crochet, Hunter Green. I would have him get young fireball pitcher that if he continues his development, you're talking about one of the top arms potentially in baseball. Cole Ragans, I think, would be a great addition.
Oh, I would love that.
I love him.
Now you go into a little bit more of the younger guys here. Jacob Mizorowski.
Mizorowski would be great.
Trey Savage is who I had on there. I do have Spencer Strider because I think Strider does have that same sense of Paul Skeens, who wants to represent the country so much that we've heard, and there's been so many interviews about how he feels when it comes to doing such, that if he didn't have the Tommy John this last couple of years ago,
he'd have been on the team this year.
He probably would have been on this team. So I want to see him give a chance to do so. Hunter Brown, another young stud pitcher for the Astros. Cade Smith. Now you go with Matt Strom, Griffin Jackson, another military who was on this team this year, young pitcher. Garrett Whitlock. I understand he gave up the home run or gave up the game-winning hit, but he was very impressive the entire tournament. I like Garrett Whitlock. I think he would, and I think getting him another opportunity to come back and pitch would be phenomenal. And obviously, again, Mason Miller. You're going to want Mason Miller, and if he continues to stay healthy and the way he pitches, he's your closer. He should always be your closer for this team. In the pitching staff and how electric he is. So Skeens, Crochet, Hunter Green, Cole Ragans, Jacob Mizorowski, Trey Savage, Spencer Strider, Hunter Brown, Cade Smith, Matt Strom, Griffin Jacks, Garrett Whitlock, Mason Miller to name the pitchers there. Maybe a couple more here and there as far as maybe some sub out a couple. I know there's a lot of those are starting pitchers. Get some more bullpen arms potentially, but that's who I would love to see on the pitching side of things for Team USA. The position players. Cal Raleigh needs. I think Cal Raleigh, who's still young enough that he'll be in that next round, and he'll be the number 1 catcher more likely at that. I have either a 1A and a 2A and 2B. And potentially you can do 3, but Shea Langoliers, who he figured it out how to hit, and he played a lot better defense this past year with the A's too. How does his development continue? And the 2B, Drake Baldwin for the Atlanta Braves, who was rookie of the year. Rookie of the year this past year. You're talking about 3-4 years down the road, who's going to continue. If he continues his development, he will be a top 5 catcher in baseball by that point as well. So I think Cal Raleigh, Shane Langoliers, and Drake Baldwin are one of the group of catchers that you can look at to have behind the plate for your staff. Infielders, the biggest letdown, and I think I kind of view it that he was going through free agency. He got signed to a new team and probably wanted to be more acclimated with his new team. Pete Alonso should have been on the 2026 WBC team. Over Paul Goldschmidt, absolutely. I think he should have been.
Is that an Orioles decision, you think, or an Alonso decision?
Possibly both.
Yeah,
I think it's both. Yeah. I think Alonso made the decision because again, if he stayed in New York, if he would have re-signed with the Mets, I think Alonso would have played. He would have. And I think not having him hurt this team. And somebody who does want he's another one who's been very vocal about representing USA. As when he was in college at Florida, playing for the collegiate team, I think he would have been a great addition to this year's team. And I think giving him an opportunity to do so the next time around would be a great. And again, he gets to be a veteran of the group as well, because there's a lot of young guys, the position players side of things. But Pete Alonso, again, I said Bryce Harper probably is going to be done with the WBC, just a little bit too old at that point. So my other first baseman is Nick Kurtz. Stud power bat first baseman, left-handed bat from the A's. So you have your righty-lefty first baseman there.
Rookie of the year in the AL too as well.
Correct. And I mean, what his trajectory is going to continue to be in 3-4 years down the road. Nico Horner, I believe, would be one that I didn't do a lot of research on his background, but being an American, he is U.S. Yes.
I believe so. I can check while you're going.
We'll check to make sure of that, because I did not do a lot of research on that one. But while y'all are looking up, Bryce Terang needs to be back. He's young and he's electrifying. I mean, again, how well is he going to develop moving forward too? But I think if Nico does fit into as far as being able to play for USA, Nico Horner and Bryce Terang would be a stud double play, second base grouping right there. Third base. This is where it's getting a little interesting. I do have Gunnar Henderson back. I mean, he was another one who was really good bat right there. He had his big moments with a home run that it was hit. My other third baseman is Connor Griffin, Pittsburgh Pirates prospect, number 1 prospect. I'm talking about a dude is 6'5", 230, electric bat, power stud hitter with a really good glove too. So big body with a great glove and can play third base.
Nico was born in California, so
there you go.
All right,
there you go. So there's your second baseman, Nico Horner and Bryce Terang, Gunnar Henderson, and I'm going to put Connor Griffin, who's the young, again, 3 years from now. If he's going to make his major league debut this year. 3 years from now, how's he going to develop and be the potential that he has could be phenomenal. Another power bat in that lineup that he provides. I also think Austin Riley, if he can kind of figure it out a little bit more, be more consistent, I would love to see Austin Riley be playing for Team USA as well, and can put him in as a right-handed bat at third base, a right-handed bat for the DH. I mean, because if you have Henderson and Griffin over at third, maybe Riley playing good third base too. I would love to see Austin Riley be able to be on Team USA. Bobby Witt Jr., who I said is probably the captain of this team on the position player side. And my other shortstop is Jacob Wilson, another stud infielder from the A's who was in contention for Rookie of the Year before he got hurt. I think his development is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm thinking about it like there's not off the top of my head in the American League or even as far as American-born shortstops. I think Jacob's getting right there in 3 years. Can be in the conversation with Bobby Witt. I'm not going to say he's going to be equal because Bobby's one of the top 5 players in the game right now. But Jacob's trajectory could be equivalent to that if he continues to do what he needs to do in his development.
Especially if the A's themselves continue to get better and better, especially when they move to Vegas too.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what is his numbers going to look like when they do play in Vegas? Because I'm assuming the dry air and the elevation in Vegas is going to be a launch pad of a hitting place too. So
Without question.
I think you can look at that. So infielders: Pete Alonso, Nick Kurtz at first base, Nico Horner, Bryce Terang at second, Gunnar Henderson, Connor Griffin at third base with Austin Riley, third base DH, Bobby Witt Jr. and Jacob Wilson are my shortstops. And then my outfielders, if Team Italy does not steal him away, and I know Vinny Pasquantino is already starting to recruit him, Roman Anthony does need to be back on Team USA for the next one. A phenomenal young player who showed that he can handle those moments. It wasn't too big for him. Love the kid. I think he's going to be a superstar here in 3 years. So Roman Anthony in left field, Corbin Carroll. Why was he not on this team? Don't know. Corbin Carroll being in left field. I also want Riley Green. Riley Green would be another one. If he can continue his trajectory in his career, how he had played in 2025, if he repeats that over the next 2-3 years, you're talking about someone who could be really good in the outfield with this. Jackson Merrill, center field, with Pete Crow Armstrong in center field. I think Crow Armstrong deserves another opportunity to be with this team. Jackson Merrill, I think, should be he'll probably end up being the number one center fielder by this point in 3 years. So Jackson Merrill, Pete Crow Armstrong, and then my right fielders, Kyle Tucker. I think at that point he'll be, again, 31, 32 years old, who's had a really good career so far. And oh my goodness, what the numbers he's going to do in LA with the lineup that he's surrounded by could be phenomenal. And then Wyatt Langford. I think Langford at this point, if we're talking about 3 years down the road, we're just going to talk about Wyatt Langford being one of the top outfielders in the game if his development continues to be as such as well. So outfielders: Roman Anthony, Corbin Carroll, Riley Green, Jackson Merrill, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Wyatt Langford, and then my designated hitter, James Wood. Big left-handed bat from the Nationals, someone that hit 30-plus home runs this past year. I think he's going to get a little bit better with his plate discipline as he continues his development over the next few years, and what you're expecting him to be, that he could really turn the corner and be just as one of the monster bats of Major League Baseball. And that provides you that another lefty bat that you can have and plug and play in there. And if you want to be able to DH Pete Alonso as the right-handed bat with James Wood as your left-handed bat, you're talking about a lineup that has speed, a lineup that has good contact ability. You have a lineup that's going to have some power, and something that maybe at times was a question. You have a team that could play really good defense when it matters most too. And so that was something I looked at and said, can you get these guys? I think you're going to be able to convince a lot of guys in the next WBC to come and play, because now that you're seeing the gap is there's no gap anymore. The talent is equal around the world with Venezuela, Dominican, Puerto Rico, Japan, Mexico, Italy. I mean, you're talking about such a small gap that if you're USA, if you got these guys wanting to line up, these young superstars with some veterans who've been in there, this is a team that can turn around and win the WBC the next go around.
Corbin Carroll broke a hamate bolt in his hand on February 11th. He had to withdraw, obviously, from the WBC. Hey, what's up, Carlton? That is why he wasn't on it. So
right, I remember that.
Yeah. So he'll be ready for opening day, but he wasn't going to be ready for the World Baseball Classic. So
it's gonna be interesting to see how it all builds here in the next few years, especially with the trajectory that Major League Baseball will be going. Obviously,
let me ask you one more question. Who's the manager in 2029 or 2030 in the World Baseball Classic?
Not DeRosa.
Not DeRosa.
At the moment, I don't know at the moment. I don't know who you have as the manager right now. I think Mark DeRosa has managed his way off this team the next go around. Yep. And for someone who's a big Mark DeRosa fan, is a big advocate for Mark DeRosa, and I understand, and not to kill him because of the rules, the differing of the rules of a tournament compared to what a season is like. I think there was a lot of questionable decisions that, if you're trying to be evaluated as a manager in Major League Baseball and you have this stud lineup and you're still making wrong decisions, when you don't have this stud of a lineup, how do you go about it then? I think that's a big problem for DeRosa. That is probably why he didn't get a job this past offseason for a manager's position. Is I think people really did actually see and understand that he doesn't have great decision making on the fly.
Yeah, I would agree.
Let me before I know we want to move on. Let me ask you guys my last point to this. As great as it's been, as great as this tournament was, and how much energy we have going into this season, does it not really take the wind out of the sails knowing what's on the horizon after the season, though?
Yep.
Like you talk about the popularity of baseball is such a high right now because of WBC that you, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, what was it for? Because we're going to lose all the popularity that we just gained in a matter of 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with you, John. And I think this season will take the wind out of that sail completely. Unless with Tony Clark out of the picture now and there's a new person in, if he can understand what both sides want in a contract and he can hammer a deal out in the middle ground with no salary cap, maybe they save a portion of next season. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not going to be happy when this baseball season ends because I think it's going away for all of 2027 next year. So,
yeah. But until then, let's enjoy it while we can. So,
absolutely.
Phenomenal ending to the WBC. Again, congratulations to Team Venezuela. Congratulations to all who participated. It was a fun, entertaining tournament. Can't wait for the next one. Hopefully, baseball won't be in too much of a shambles by the time the next WBC rolls around. But we'll just wait and see. But we've delayed it long enough. We've been hyping this up for months. It is our official season preview for the 2026 MLB season. So how we're going to do this, we're going to do kind of like in a semicircle type of order. We're going to start with the NL West. They'll do the NL Central, NL East, AL Central, and then we'll finish things off with the American League West.
Can we skip the NL West? We all know who's going to win. We all know who's going to come out. Let's just skip it.
That's why we're doing it first, is getting it out of the way.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So I got a list of things I want to cover here, obviously, for each division as we go through it. So we're going to start things off. We'll start, of course, with the National League West, of course, the defending World Series champion LA Dodgers, back-to-back champions. Obviously, they're the favorite again. There's that team in Denver that we can't talk about because they are completely pitiful. And then there's everything in between. So we're going to start with the underrated team in the National League West.
To me, that's Arizona. I think Arizona is going to be good enough to put pressure on the Dodgers where I think the Padres are going to take a step back. I just think that the Diamondbacks have some good young talent there. I don't know where most of the power is coming from after Corbin Carroll and Marte, but I think the Diamondbacks can hang around in this division and put enough pressure on the Dodgers to have to win to make the Dodgers play out this season for 90% of it. So I'm going to say the Diamondbacks are the underrated team in the division this year.
And let's not forget, Scott, also they have Nolan Arenado now in the fold. So
yeah, but how much does Arenado have left? That's the big question. How much does he have left coming from St. Louis? I know that Parker's a launching pad, but again, how much does Arenado have left? He's on the wrong side. He's on the 16th hole right now of his career, so to speak. So
yeah, I'm trying to convince myself not to pick the Diamondbacks just and kind of repeat. I don't think the Giants are anywhere close yet. Even though the Giants do have some talent, obviously Willy Adames and Rafael Devers, I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains for Tony Vitello, leading as the first-time professional coach and a professional baseball manager. Padres, I think there's a lot of issues, even not just with the team itself, but behind the scenes with the ownership situation that they're going through and what direction they're going to want to go with, there is a lot of talent still on that Padres team. I just think we've seen when there's behind the scenes issues with the Padres, it crumbles fast. So, but again, I love Jackson Merrill. I think he's going to be a stud of a player in Major League Baseball. He's already shown a lot of glimpses of what he's able to be, and I think if he continues this development, he is going to be a future, one of the future top center fielder in the game of baseball. But I just think there's so many issues with this team behind the scenes, and I cannot trust them completely. So as much as I don't want to copy you, Scott, I do think the Arizona Diamondbacks is the surprise team of this division. There is a lot of talent with this group. You still, Corbin Carroll, who's coming back from the injury, as was mentioned. You have Ketel Marte, who had a great season last year. Geraldo Perdomo, who had a phenomenal WBC. And his trajectory and what he's shown to be a top 3-4 shortstop in the game, I think he is going to continue to develop and push himself up into an elite status, which would be great for Arizona to have. You have Jordan Lawler. You're hoping he can develop and kind of get himself turned around with his career. Is it enough to challenge the Dodgers? No. I don't think it is going to be a challenge. But can they try to compete for a wild card? That's going to be the better question are they good enough to compete for a wild card spot? Potentially. We've already seen if they get hot, what they can do when they went to the World Series a few years ago. So it's a matter of, is this young talent you have with some of the leadership, good leaders with Marte and Perdomo, with Carroll kind of rounding out to almost to be the face of the franchise still, do you have enough pieces to just say, hey, we're up there with the Braves, with the Mets and Phillies in the East. We're up there with the Cubs or Brewers in the Central. We can be in this conversation for a wild card. I think they have something, but is there enough for them to get there? That's to be determined. But they have a lot of good pieces. Just is it going to be good enough? But for this division, it's good enough to be the surprise team for 2026.
I'll be a little bit of a contrarian. I'm going to say the Giants because I feel like this is one of those years where we kind of feel like we're writing the Giants off already because they didn't make the best of moves in the offseason. The roster is kind of aging a little bit overall. You still got some talent there, of course. You've got Willy Adames still there, Luis Ariz, who's one of the better hitters in baseball. You've got Harrison Bader coming in. He's a serviceable veteran player. And then, of course, if Rafael Devers goes back to the Devers of old, I think that could be a huge impact, especially offensively for the Giants. If they figure out the pitching, not saying that they will challenge the Dodgers, but I think they could do just enough to get themselves in the wild card contention. So I'll say the Giants. I'll say the Giants will come out of nowhere a little bit.
And to the Diamondbacks talk, the Diamondbacks will make the biggest splash at the All-Star break. Corbin Burns is expected to come back. That could be the biggest name that comes back to a baseball field after the All-Star break. And if the Diamondbacks are anywhere near the wild card race, he could make the difference in them getting in the wild card or not. I know he's Tommy John surgery. I know they're not going to push him, but if he's 50% of what we see in Corbin Burns, that would help the D-backs out a ton down the stretch. So,
all right. So, who's our overrated team?
Oh, that's easy. Go ahead, Jonathan. You take it. I'll agree with you.
I look at it in the San Francisco Giants. I am not. I think again, there's some. Is there talent? Yes, but has this organization has completely underperformed and underwhelmed for many years. And I know Buster Posey is doing everything he can to get the organization back to what he knew it was when he was a player for the Giants. But I think they're going in a direction that's just so conflicting. You're talking about Alan. You talk about can Devers be the player of old that he was at one point with the Red Sox? If Alex Cora, who's someone he really respected, couldn't get Devers on the same page with the team and the organization and with him, how is Tony Vitello going to be able to handle Rafael Devers? I think that's a big question that is going to be needed to be asked to them. Is he going to have the personality to really handle? Which we know Vitello is absolutely a big personality, even as he was in college. But college baseball is not professional baseball. It's not the same where when you see an NFL, a college football coach try to make the jump to the NFL, because one. A lot of those guys that play in the NFL, well, that guy recruited them, or at least tried to recruit those guys and have a little bit of familiarity with those professional football players. Tony Vitello never came across Rafael Devers. So how is he going to be able to relate to someone like him? How's he going to relate to Willie Adames? How's he going to relate to these guys that he's never come across before and is at a level that he's never even approached? I think that's such a big question mark to have. And I think there's still going to be questions. Do they have talent? Absolutely. Is Logan Webb a stud pitcher, an ace for them? Absolutely. Do you have pieces that can say, why can't we challenge the Dodgers? Yes. But do you have the right person to lead? That matters. And I don't know if you can really sit here and say Tony Vitello is the guy that's going to lead this organization back to to be a contender status with a lot of the personalities they have that has underwhelmed and underperformed for the last few years on top of it. So I got it at the moment right now until I see otherwise that I'm going to say the overrated team of the West is the Giants.
Oh, I thought he was going someplace else, but I would love to say the Dodgers in this aspect because everybody's saying they're going to win 120 games, 130 games. No, they didn't come close to what they were supposed to win last year. I'm going to go with the Padres. I think the Padres have, again, the lineup is talented. Bogarts, Merrill, Machado, Tatis, Laureano, Cronenworth. They have some really good names. But as we've seen what happens with the Padres in the past 5 to 6 years, talent with them doesn't get them anywhere. And if you remember last year, every time the Padres put pressure on the Dodgers, what happened? They lose 3 or 4 games in a row and fall back. And then they get steam again, and then they fall back. I have a lot of questions about their pitching staff. The pitching staff right now projected Nick Pivetta, Michael King, Joe Musgrove, Randy Vasquez, and Herman Marquez. I don't like that staff at all. I don't think there's many wins in that staff. People are picking the Padres to finish second, maybe third. I could see them finishes as low as fourth if the Giants ever got it together. So I'm going to say the Padres are the overrated team in the NL West this year.
No, I'm not going to say there's overrated in the division per se, but in the whole of the National League, I'm going to say the Dodgers.
Here we go.
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it, but I like what Chicago's doing.
I
know the Phillies are starting to get older. Braves are starting to get healthier. I know it's a formality at this point, but I think there's quite a few teams in the National League that I think can challenge the Dodgers this year. Not saying that they're going to win it again, because they're definitely winning the NL West. I'll say that. But as far as the whole scheme of the National League, I'm going to say the Dodgers are right now. I don't know. I can't trust them. I can't trust them. I know they just won a championship, but how healthy can these guys? How healthy can these guys continue to stay, especially when they played extra baseball for so long?
I mean, the thing is, I hate the Dodgers. I hate everything about them, but I respect the heck out of them because of what they've done. Until another team comes and knocks them off, that's the way my team.
Or until the rules change.
Or until the rules change, yes. Because
at the moment right now, you have to treat the Dodgers how we've treated the Astros for so many years.
Yeah.
You can't say they're not going to be a contender for a World Series, not a contender for the West, not a contender for the National League, but a World Series. They are the World Series contender, right? Yep. They're back-to-back champions. So at the point right now, you cannot count them out as far as saying that they are the favorites to win the World Series because one, they continue to take advantage of the rules, which they're allowed to do. and be able to go about what they're doing with their business. So until then, I'm not counting them out.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, I'm not counting them out either. I'm just saying, like, I
You
think
just
there's
don't.
going to be.
Yeah,
I just think that this year, especially with, Jonathan mentioned earlier we were talking WBC that the talent competition is getting younger. A lot of teams are starting to get younger, starting to get healthier. The Braves are getting healthier. Phillies are getting back to where they are. The Cubs made some moves. Brewers are still going to be there, I think, even though they lost a few pieces. I think they're not saying that they won't be in the World Series. I think that they're going to get probably their toughest challenge of this 3-year span this year for sure. So,
and I know we'll go down this a little bit, but I don't think the National League this year is going to be as tough as on paper as it was in previous years. Because as you said, Phillies are older this year. I don't think they're as talented in past years. The Braves, yes, they're getting healthier, but they still have some injury issues that they're dealing with on the pitching side of things. The Mets are a complete mess. Can't trust the Mets. The Cubs they've lost pieces and gained pieces. So where are they going to be? The Brewers, same thing. I think the National League right now is the Dodgers and everybody else. I don't think we're talking about. I think we're talking about maybe 5 teams in the National League that can compete with the Dodgers. Yeah, and that's a bit of a stretch that I'll say 5 right now. But it could, and I could be wrong, and we could say that there might be a couple of teams here and there that are a little bit different, that are out of nowhere. But as far as on paper right now, last year it looked like the National League was so stacked that you probably had 7 teams that can go and compete. I don't see that being the case this year. So until somebody knocks them off the mountain, you got to keep them on the mountain.
Right.
All right. So next topic: who's the surprise team
in the West?
In the West, surprise team, underrated team. Essentially the same thing, but who? We'll do it for the National League as a whole. We'll do that once we get done with the actual National League.
The surprise team in the West is only really one. It's the one we don't talk about. I mean,
you can only go up from here.
Exactly.
Well, we'll do it overall. We'll do the overall for that whenever we get done with the National League itself. I know Ohtani's probably going to be in this conversation, but any other Cy Young candidates or MVP candidates that you could think could come out of this division?
Logan Webb. Logan Webb's going to have a good. He'll probably still put up numbers, but is it going to be equivalent to a Cy Young to compete for one with Paul Skeens in the National League? No, is it going to be Yamamoto kind of the same? Maybe Yamamoto might take the jump to where he's getting. He's going to get up there for Cy Young votes. I don't think Snell is going to. I think Snell's going to. I think we'll start seeing Snell come back down to earth a little bit in his career with just some of the injuries that he's dealt with. And whatnot. So I think it's either going to be Skeens or Yamamoto. But if we had to take a player outside of the Dodgers, I'd say Logan Webb. Again, he pitched really well in the WBC. He's been a stud pitcher for the Giants. He's going to be the ace of that staff continuously. So he's going to get his opportunities. Can he get the help he needs from his team? That's going to be the question mark that for him. Because if he's going to get the run support with that offense and pitch the way he does, he will put up some really good numbers. Is it going to be Skeens and Yamamoto type of numbers? I don't know. But if you have someone who can say, hey, who's going to be a contender for Cy Young? I say Logan Webb.
Yeah, I just looked at the rotations on these teams projected. They're god awful, the back ends of these rotations. Yamamoto would be the only one for me. I mean, Jonathan mentioned Webb. I would say Yamamoto. Snell starting the year on the IL. If Yamamoto, who's supposedly the top starter on the Dodgers, if he goes out and gets 19, 20 wins on that team, and with the ERA in the low 3s and a lot of strikeouts, he could be in consideration for Cy Young. I'm sorry. I just think it's Skeens' award to lose. He's going to run away with it, I think. So Yamamoto would be it for me.
Yeah, I think so too. Yamamoto, looking at these I mean, you can't pick anybody from Denver because that ballpark. I don't know why Coors Field hasn't made adjustments to that ballpark because it's just it's such a death nail for pitchers. Like it's crazy to even think of. You mentioned Arizona's kind of a death nail for pitchers too. Other than Yamamoto, I agree with you, Scott. I can't really see anybody out of the NL West that could come out.
Webb and Yamamoto are the only two in the West that could possibly get any votes.
All right. So out of the division as a whole, out of the, maybe not a superstar guy, maybe it's a young up and coming guy, somebody in the minor leagues. Who's a guy in this crop of teams here? Who's the player to watch this year?
I've been this guy's biggest fan for a long time. It's Corbin Carroll. I think he has a possibility to hit 40 home runs this year, drive in 115 runs if he's put in the 3 or 4 slot, which I think he's going to be, and bat somewhere in the 280s. I just think he's got untapped potential talent waiting to come out. So I'm going to say Corbin Carroll is the guy. That's where I'm going with it. I think if the Diamondbacks are to contend, Corbin Carroll is going to have to lead the way for them.
I'll go with a different Diamondbacks thing because I just said I think he's a top 3 shortstop in the game, and who batted last year, who had a pretty breakout year, 290 average, 20 home runs and 100 RBIs. I think he's going to have an even better. I think he'll get 30 home runs. He'll equal to the 100 RBI plus, and then I think he's going to bat over 300. It's Geraldo Perdomo, and you talk about somebody who stepped up as a leader, who he looked like he was one of the leaders of the Dominican Republic team, and especially with some of the young guys they had on that group. But someone who's been there in pro baseball, 26 years old. He's been in the game for 5 years in the big leagues, and he absolutely stepped up as a leader, and his development has just been skyrocketing more and more each year. That I think we're going to talk about Geraldo Perdomo as the number 2 shortstop in the game of baseball. I said he's in the top 3, potentially top 3, top 5. I think by the end of this season, we're talking about Bobby Witt Jr. still being the number 1 shortstop, but Geraldo Perdomo is number 2. And I think he will have a better season. I'll go this far. I think Geraldo Perdomo will have a better season than Francisco Lindor, and he will jump Lindor as the second best shortstop in the game right now. It's just I think you're just seeing everything when you've been in the game like as a player and even as a coach. When you see something like this click on a young man, on a player, and you visibly can see it click, and it's clicking. And then from last year in 2025, and he's built on that. And by what he did in the WBC, I don't see him. I cannot see him finishing below 300 batting average. I can't see him batting less than 30 home runs and replicating 100 RBIs. He'll have 200. I think he'll be at 200 hits too. I think you're talking about not just a breakout season, because I think that was last year. This is a welcome to the elite status season for Geraldo Perdomo.
Yep.
I'll say the same thing, Jonathan, but about another guy who had a really, really great year last year on a really bad team. I'm going to say Hunter Goodman. On a really, really bad team, he was the lone shining star for that team. Obviously, the only all-star pick.
Did you get the memo? Did you get the memo?
I did get the memo, but I don't care about the memo, Scott. Not saying he's going to elevate this team to be better than what they were last year, but he looking at his stats from 2025, 3.7 WAR, obviously he had 150 hits, 31 home runs, 278 batting average, scored 73 runs, 91 RBIs, did only have 1 stolen base, but he's not really a runner, so to speak. But if those numbers start going up, let's say he gets to like 40 home runs, so we're talking, maybe he could jump into kind of that superstar status with Perdomo as well. Not saying that, again, lone bright spot for that team. The one lone bright spot, and he could, if he continues to develop like he has over the course of the last couple of years, I think Hunter Goodman could be one of the sleeper players in Major League Baseball this year.
Yeah, he'll get traded. He'll get traded at the trade deadline, so no worries about that.
He'll
The Rockies.
He'll get traded to the White Sox, and he'll get traded to the Rangers. Then he'll get traded to Toronto. Then he'll go to Boston. Then he'll end up in Atlanta.
I didn't realize Carlos Santana lives. He's on the Diamondbacks this year. I did not realize that until I just.
He's not in the nursing home with you and Scott. With you
no,
and Keith.
He's in Arizona with the Diamondbacks. I didn't realize that he's in the middle of the.
What other state does kind of guys who are on the cusp of retiring go to? They go to Arizona. So yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think of that. That's
establishing his roots. He's ready after the season. He's establishing his roots, and he's already going to be retired when it's all said and done.
Him and Nolan Arenado are going to find retirement homes together.
Pretty much. All righty. So what's the next on the agenda? All right. So final thing for the NL West, 1 through 5. Order it up. Obviously, we know who number
5 is
one.
easy. Number 1 and 5 are easy.
1 and 5 are obviously the easy. It's just the middle ground that we got to figure out here.
I'll go Dodgers 1, D-backs 2, Padres 3, Giants 4, Rockies 5.
Dodgers 1, Diamondbacks 2, Giants 3, Padres 4, Rockies 5. I think the Padres situation with their ownership is going to be too much to handle. And who knows what the direction that the new ownership, when they do sell, decides to do. Do they want to sell off? Do they want to try to just restart everything? Who knows? So I think there's so much uncertainty going on with that franchise. I can't put them ahead of the Giants at the moment. I think the Giants do have some talent. I think there's still some question marks, obviously, as I stated, but I think the Padres have greater questions behind the scenes in the offices more so than on the field.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Yeah. I'll go Dodgers 1, Giants 2, Diamondbacks 3, Padres 4, because I agree with you guys. I think the Padres are in a lot of trouble going in, and then Rockies 5 here to end the NL West.
Yeah, look for the Padres to trade off some of their expensive pieces too. This year.
All right. Next up, we got the NL Central, a team that we completely wrote off this time last year in the Milwaukee Brewers. I think either all of us or a majority of us picked them to finish dead last. Ended up winning the division, surprising all of us. Cubs stayed competitive, did get a wild card spot. And then the Reds, they accomplished the one goal everybody wanted them to, make sure the Mets didn't make the postseason. So underrated team here in the NL Central.
Okay, Jonathan, there's really only one. Go ahead, give him.
I made a very bad decision last year. I guess I made an emotional decision too early. I'm not doing it again this year. And I will go ahead and say who my surprise team, who I think is going to be who are going to challenge for this division and potentially win this division, and that is the Cincinnati Reds. I think the Reds have got a lot of great pieces in place. I think pitching is going to be a step up, which has kind of hurt them last year. They had a lot of injuries, that hurt them. But I think you have something going with the pieces that you do have. Chase Burns being with the Reds, who has been a difference maker for them in his development. You do obviously you won't get Hunter Green back until the middle part of the season with him coming from the elbow surgery he had. But you having another fireballer like Chase Burns coming up, who is electric. I think you talking about arms that are electric pitchers, and you have that with Skeens, you have that with Garrett Cole, you have that with Strider, you have that with these guys who are just absolute fireballers. Chase Burns is no different. I think you have a little bit better depth on the pitching side of things. I think Ellie De La Cruz is going to take a big step forward in his growth as well. I think you have some pieces offensively to be able to score runs. Is it a great offense? I'm not going to sit here and say this is a great offense, but is it good enough with the pitching you have in place? I believe it is, and I think you're going to have some hunger with this team that in a division that's not great, I know the Cubs have added pieces, but they also lost some pieces. The Brewers the same. They've gone and lost some pieces. You can't count the Brewers for the culture they built. Can't count them out. But I think there's a team that has to be able to challenge them, and I can't make the emotional decision again this year, but I will speak highly here in a little bit about the Pirates. I think they are going to be on the trajectory upwards. I just don't think they're going to be. I don't think the front office or even the ownership. I won't say the front office. I don't think the ownership is really invested in winning in Pittsburgh like they need to be with what they have. But the Reds have shown that to be the case. They have invested. They have put pitching at a forefront for them. They have put some position players on that roster that that can help score some runs and be productive. I'm going to lock it in with you guys right now. My 2026 surprise team of Major League Baseball is the Cincinnati Reds.
I'm going to go ahead and go, Scott, because Jonathan took my answer too. I have the Reds as
I agree.
I have the Reds as the underrated team too, because I think you saw last year. You saw just a glimpse of what they could potentially be. Obviously, they ran into the buzzsaw that was the Dodgers last year in the wild card. So we kind of felt. I think all of us kind of felt like they didn't have really much of a shot. They were just there to make sure that the Mets didn't get there. So. But I agree with you, Jonathan. I think Ellie's going to take a huge step forward. I like the makeup of this team, and I love their pitching staff. Their pitching staff, I think, is really, really good. I think they have a good shot. I kind of with you. They're not my surprise team officially, but I do agree with you. I think they have a really good shot to win the NL Central this year.
So I think two huge things the Reds did for their offense was sign Suarez and Ke'Bryan Hayes. I think those two guys will bring some stability to that lineup. And I also think people underrate this, but don't underrate it. I know we don't, but the hiring of Terry Francona last year was huge for that team. A guy that can win, a guy that's won everywhere he's gone since Boston, a guy that is a player's manager, loves his players, will stick with his players through struggle, through good times, bad times, whatever. I think the Reds can win this division, and I think the Reds can win 90 games this year. I love the Reds this year. I really do. I'm extremely high on them. I bet them to win over their total. The win total is 87.5 or something. I bet them over that. I think they in this division, I think the Brewers are going to take a step back, to be honest with you. Brewers have some great talent. But the Brewers kind of overachieved last year. Nobody expected them to do what they did, and they were great last year. But I just think the Reds are that team in this division that could make the Cubs' hopes of a division a complete nightmare. So I like the Reds a lot. I think, and their pitching staff is pretty good too. So
to go with it, because I'm looking at it here right now. Because again, I know Hunter Green is the ace of the staff. He'll be back for the second half of the season. And looking at his numbers before he had his surgery, he was 7-4 at a 19-game started with a 2.76 ERA and 107 innings and a 0.94 WHIP in the regular season last year. Phenomenal. Then you throw in Andrew Abbott, who was in 29 starts, 10-7, but he had a 2.87 ERA and 166 innings with a 1.15 WHIP. You throw in the young guys, like I said, Chase Burns, who he didn't have a great beginning last year with 4.57 ERA, but 67 strikeouts and 43 innings. That's phenomenal. That's what he is. And I'll throw one more name out there because again, for on the pitching side of things, because of how I got to watch him pitch against my LSU Tigers in the College World Series semifinals was Rhett Lauder. Rhett Lauder for Wake Forest in 2023, he was disgusting of a pitcher. And his 6 starts he had in 2024, because he's coming back from injury as well. He should be ready to go this year in 2026. And his 6 starts being called up, he had his 2-2 record. He had a 1.17 ERA in 30 innings, 22 Ks with a 1.27 WHIP. Great numbers. They're also getting Brandon Williamson back, who had shoulder surgery 2 years ago. He's coming back. He's healthy. I've talked. Actually, have some people. A cousin of his actually. She was my trainer in college. She's been talking that he's looking good. His numbers been good in the spring training too. So You're getting him back. Their depth in the rotation is absolutely where you want to have it at. You have good bullpen arms, and I'll give you one underrated signing that you were able to bring in to your offense was the guy who hit the game-winning double last night in the WBC. Eugenio Suarez is in the Reds lineup as well to be a DH, third base. Well, you could DH him with Brian Hayes at third base too now. You have depth with this lineup, and it's actually really good. Sal Stewart, young guy from last year, he was hitting really well. You have Tyler Stevenson, who's a good catcher behind the plate with your pitching staff. Brian Hayes, Ellie De La Cruz has help. Ellie De La Cruz has help in this lineup. You know, you have guys that TJ Friedel looked good for a period of time last year.
Princess Steer is a good player, up and coming.
This can be a really good lineup and a really good team. I think this is the best team the Reds have had in many years, and I think they can really do damage to scare in the Central and be able to take this division away from the Cubs and Brewers.
All right, so Scott, whenever your surprise team comes up, just go ahead and say it because since Jonathan already did his. I 100%.
There's nobody else in baseball that compares to this team. This is the team that they could win 90 games this year. They're a surprise team for me. For sure.
Are they your official surprise team too, Scott? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I have to pick another one. I can't do the same thing.
It just seems like last year you mentioned all those great pitching numbers that they had. They just needed the offense. Well, guess what? Now they have the offense.
They have it.
You have Suarez coming in. You have keep Brian Hayes coming in. I'm excited to watch this Reds team this year. I really am.
And that ballpark in the summer is a complete launching pad. Suarez might have 2 home runs, 3 home run games once every other week or something. That's how the ball flies out of that ballpark. So, just saying.
All right. Now on the opposite side of the spectrum, who is the overrated team? Hopefully Nick is not in the comments when this is being talked about.
I'm not going to say the Cubs. I'm gonna say the Brewers. I think the Brewers are on that downward trend. I think they overachieved last year. A lot of people have them picked first or second in the division. I just don't see it. I think Yelich is another year older. They have some young guys. Yeah, they trade Durbin to the Red Sox, so they weren't sold on him, so to speak. Miz can only do so much for the Brewers pitching staff. I know Freddie Peralta's in New York. They lost him too. They traded him. They got rid of him. I don't know what they're doing. I think they're going to be a middle of the pack to lower pack in the NL this year. I just don't see it with the Brewers.
I mean, we kind of bit the bullet last year by saying the Brewers. I think you have to look at the culture that's this team has. They have, again, Jacob Mizorowski, who is a phenomenal pitcher, and he's going to continue to develop and be a mainstay in this rotation. I think you do have Brandon Woodruff leading as well on the pitching on the starting side, pitching side. A bullpen that is probably going to be take a step back. That was really good, actually surprisingly good last year after they traded Devin Williams away. Offensively, you do have William Contreras. You have Gary Sanchez, catcher, Andrew Vaughn, who has been kind of up and down with Jake Bowers, Bryce Terang, who you're kind of looking at saying does the time that he had with Team USA really help him to his development, which is what, again, Bobby Witt Jr., when he was young, he was sitting around that group, and what it's done for him. Bryce actually getting to play, too, was going to be really good for his development. Jackson Churio, I think he's going to, from what he experienced with the Dominican Republic team, I think he's going to absolutely flourish, with that group. I'm sorry, not Dominican Republic, Venezuela. For being able to be part of Venezuelan's championship team and being around Acuna, being around Arias, being around Abreu, being around Miguel Garcia, being around those guys and being and just competing and playing what he's done. How is that going to it's going to just take off the next step of his career going forward I I almost with you though. I am with you. I think there is a lot of questions still with this group. I think they're going to still be good. I'm not going to say they're going to fall off the cliff like we said that last year.
Mm-hmm.
Do think they're going to take a step back. I think the Cubs are still really good. I think there's some questions. I'll say I do think there's question marks with the Cubs pitching. I think that there is some as far as just where they're at with it. Is Justin Steele going to return back to what he showed a couple years ago? Because he was kind of up and down with their and how he looked last year. Can you continue to trust Jameson Taillon? Can you trust Shota Imanaga, Matthew Boyd? Can you see that these guys are going to pick up some of the slack that Justin Steele, if you can, hopefully he can return to what he was 2 years ago. But if not, are they still as good in the starting rotation? That's going to be the question. I think offensively, I think they're going to be really good offensively. Chicago is Michael Busch at first base. You have Horner, who's starting to figure out the offensive side. We're talking about a really good second baseman defensively, but I think he's going to start. I think he's been figuring it out a little bit more on the hitting side. He had a 297 average last year, which was a breakout offensive season for him with what he provides. Dansby Swanson, kind of the leadership of this team. Outfield, I think, is a little bit of the weak point. I know Seiya Suzuki had a good year last year. Pete Crow Armstrong had a lot of good moments with him throughout the season. Ian Happ, does he continue to be what he is, or is he going to take a step back? But I think there's still a lot of good bats with this team. I want to say the Cubs are going to take the step back and be the overrated team. I just can't pull the trigger on it. I will say the Brewers for right now, just because I do think there is some questionable pieces. But if Jackson Chourio continues to develop to be the superstar that he is, with William Contreras there too, you're talking about a team that has the next generation of stars for that Brewers organization that just continues to build within the culture that they've done for the last decade. But I need to see more. And are they gonna buy into the team a little bit here at the deadline to make sure that they continue to be that contender, to be determined? But right now, the Brewers, I'll agree with you. By a small margin, the Brewers are the more overrated team.
Are we doing overrated player in this division, Alan?
I mean, we can, but
Is there?
I didn't really have that.
No, okay. If we're not, then
on the docket.
All right, I'll give you a name after you go. I'll give you a name that won't repeat.
I'm actually gonna say the Cubs because I agree with you, Jonathan. The thing with the Cubs that scares me is their pitching. If their pitching is not to what it should be, if Taillon doesn't go back to form, if Steele's not ready yet, the Cubs could be in trouble. I don't care if they have Bregman in. I like a lot of their young pieces too. I like their lineup a lot. But something is telling me that the youth of the Brewers is still just going to be slightly better than the Cubs this year. And if the Reds are going to take that next step, that to me puts the Cubs in third. So I would have to say the Cubs. It pains me to say it because I kind of have a soft spot for the Chicago Cubs. But I think I slightly favor the Brewers just slightly more right now than I do the Chicago Cubs. So
just to throw that out there, I know spring training really numbers don't mean anything, but Jameson Taillon's numbers: 4 games pitched, 9 1/3 innings, 6 strikeouts, 3 WHIP, with a 22.18 ERA.
Yeah, it's not. You could take that stuff into the season, and if he's where he is at spring training at the start of the season, that's not good for the Cubs at all. So, and the guy, the name that I wanted to give you from last year, he's starting the year in AL. Remember what Quinn Priester did for the Brewers last year? He won all those games and didn't have a loss in like over 20 starts. Is he really going to repeat that again? No, he's not going to. So that's another thing that the Brewers have to overcome, is that a Quinn Priester is not going to be the same Quinn Priester as last year. So that's another thing for the Brewers that they have to overcome. So,
yeah. All right. So we've already obviously talked about Paul Skeens. Jonathan, you can go into that when we talking as we getting into the Cy Young and MVP candidates. I think we're all in agreement that Paul Skeens is going to be the favorite to win Cy Young. If I had to pick anybody else out of this, maybe Hunter Green. Well, Hunter Green's not going to be back for a while.
He's not going to have enough stats to get there. So
low key, I would say if he has a great year, I would say Mizorowski could pitch himself in that conversation. But I think at the end of the day, I think we can all agree, and I'll let you guys go. It's definitely Paul Skeens as far as the NL Central and probably the NL as its entirety for Cy Young.
I'll be contrarian. I'll go with Dustin May of the Cardinals. I think he could have a no. It's Paul. I'll be Paul Skeens. Come on, really? Paul Skeens could run away with this if the Pirates get any hitting, and I know they signed Ozuna, and I know healthy O'Neal Cruz all year could help him a lot in terms of them scoring runs, their offense. I just think Skeens is if you as a opposing pitcher give up more than 2 runs in the game, you have no shot. You have no shot. Because Skeens' ERA will be around mid to low 2s. He'll strike out a ton of guys. He'll throw a lot of innings. I think they had some kid gloves on him for a lot of portions of last year. I think those kid gloves are going to start coming off. I just think we haven't seen the best of Paul Skeens yet, and I think we're about to. I think this could be the year that he ascends into the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, and it may not even be close. So I think Skeens will have numbers all across the board.
I mean, if you're the Pirates, what do you have to lose? Then to just go ahead and let him loose. It's Paul Skeens' award to win. And I don't think there's anything that can be done by anybody else that's going to take the Cy Young. I mean, you're talking about somebody that potentially can set records of winning the Cy Young, just because, as long as he stays healthy in the process. Just because he, as you said, he is still getting better. He is still, and he showed it. He showed in the Dominican game when he pitched. He doesn't have to strike out batters to get outs. He can pitch efficient and still get outs and still get strikeouts that way too. So I think that's the next step in his development is being able to pitch to contact and just say, I'm better than you. I can strike you out when I want, but I need to pitch 6, 7, 8 innings. So there'll be a time where I'm going to ramp it up and throw it 101, 102 miles an hour. But more times than not, I'll throw 97 and I'm still going to get you out. I don't see there's anybody in the National League that can match what Paul Skeens is doing on the mound. And it's like I said, I made the claim that the day that he was going to be with you guys, the day he gets called up, he is this version, because I've watched him at LSU. He is this generation's Robert Clemens. Mm-hmm. And it is not even a question at this point where we're at that he's fulfilling that, essentially the prophecy of what I put out there for him in what he's providing, what he's done. And so far in 2 years of big league baseball, going into what will be his second full season in the big leagues, and what he's just absolutely have changed the perception of pitching by what he has done. Go ahead and just wrap it up right now, or go ahead and etch his name on the Cy Young trophy. I just don't see there's anybody who's going to take that away from him.
All right, let me throw this at you, both of you. I'll give you 2 names. You have 1 game to win it all. Do you start Paul Skeens or in his prime Pedro Martinez?
I mean, that's tough because, again, you're talking about a Hall of Famer.
Right. But I think Skeens is on that trajectory. I think he's on that trajectory.
I think if we're 7 years from now, I think that question being asked is not a slam dunk Pedro Martinez anymore.
Right.
I think we're talking about in 10 years of his career, and he's doing what he's doing. Then I think it's not like, oh yeah, it's Pedro, right? I don't want to be the homer who says this because, again, I've watched Skeens for this time of Baton Rouge. But I'll say this: has there been a pitcher that in the 2 to 3, let's just say in a 3-year stretch, that's pitched in College World Series. I know he didn't get the pitch in the finals, but he got the pitch in the semis against Wake Forest, which was supposed to be the game of the tournament of the College World Series. So he got the pitch against one of the stud College World Series teams. Turn around in his rookie year in a matter of 2 months, pitching the All-Star game, start again the next year, and then turn around and pitch in the WBC against one of the top elite lineups in baseball history. I'll go that far to it. Have an all-star lineup that you could probably say some of these guys are trajectory to be Hall of Famers at some point down the road, and he completely shut them down with a matter of one pitch that he gave up to Caminero. He was electric. Has there been a pitcher that has just gone through in a 3-year stretch of that? I don't think so. And so I can understand why you asked that question. I'll still lean to the Hall of Famer over the 3-year big leaguer. But I agree that if we're going to talk about here in 5 to 7 years,
it's getting closer.
Very interesting question to ask.
I think Skeens is if he ever got on a big stage like New York, Los Angeles, or a place like that.
He said, don't say that. Don't do that.
Or Atlanta. Atlanta. I know. No, I know, but I'm saying if Skeens take away our hatred for those teams, because we both hate them. We both hate them with a passion. If he ever I'm not even saying New York and LA, just take those out. If he ever get on a big stage in baseball, it's all over. It's all over. If he ever had an offense attacking him, it's all over.
Well, and that's probably we saw what that looks like with Clemens.
Yes.
When he went to the Yankees from Toronto, when he went from Toronto to the Yankees, and what that felt like. I agree with you. As much as I don't want it to happen,
right? I don't want it either. But
if you put him on the Yankees, it's another level. We're talking about a different stratosphere.
Game over. Yeah. Right back to you, Alan.
Jeez. All right, MVP. I'll throw a name right away out in the hat. If we're gonna talk, we've already talked about this team a lot in the segment. I'll throw Ellie De La Cruz. If the Reds win the Central, I think Ellie's gonna have a big year. So that would be if there was a pick from this division, I'll say Ellie.
Okay, this never happens or hardly ever happens, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. MVP in the Central, Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens. Cy Young and MVP.
I think that happens if the Pirates make the playoffs.
Make the playoffs, which is possible. I mean, it's not out of the question. Maybe it's a year too early. I'm thinking they'll make the playoffs, but there's a possibility.
I mean, I still don't like their lineup offensively.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't.
I get they tried. They brought in Ryan O'Hearn. They brought Marcelo Ozuna. They tried to make some moves. I get it, but it's not needle mover moves that just says, hey, yeah, you got to watch out for the Pirates because they're going to do this. They didn't make the moves that the Reds made.
Right.
If you put Paul Skeens on the Cincinnati Reds are the favorites in the Central, and it's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
But
yes.
But to say MVP status, if Paul Skeens leads the Reds to, not the Reds, I'm sorry, the Pirates to either a play, I'll just go wild card. Then yes, absolutely. Then you basically give him the MVP award too, because that's something that we would never we can't fathom to think that Pittsburgh would be that good. But if they do, it's because Skeens is just that much of a difference maker for them.
I see 3 MVP candidates in this division. I don't know if Jonathan will go with the third one, but we'll see.
I will say one, and I know I kind of said a little bit negative about the Brewers taking a step back, but again, looking at his numbers, from last season, and again, being able to be on Team Venezuela, learning from what he got out of that group, my MVP is Jackson Churia.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to take a huge step forward. He's going to put up phenomenal numbers. Again, being last year, 270, 21 home runs, 78 RBIs. I could see north of 27 home runs, getting close to 30, probably a 290 average. He's going to get close to it. He's going to probably get 90 to 95 RBIs. He'll steal probably 35 stolen bases. I think you're talking about a superstar in Jackson Chourio that is just budding and waiting to take that next step. Will he have enough help to protect him? If that's the case, possibly. But I think that's going to be the biggest thing is what's this team going to look like in Milwaukee to give him the opportunity to put those numbers up to be determined. But I mean, you're talking about such an immense talent that Chourio is. I think you have to look at it and saying that he is a he's a future MVP. He is a future MVP at some point down the road. And I think he will. You can almost have the argument that he will be the best player in this division for sure in the future. But I think that time can be nearing very quickly.
I thought the other name that came to my mind was Suarez of the Reds. If he hits over 50 home runs this year, he would be in contention. If the Reds make the playoffs or win the division, I think he would be in the mix.
I mean, he's in a ballpark that can do it.
Absolutely, no question.
I mean, he'll hit
home
runs.
Before too. That's the other thing.
He'll hit home runs. He'll hit home runs there that we probably haven't seen since Adam Dunn was there. I mean, as big of a bat as he is, I can agree with you. I think Ellie will steal votes away from him though. If that's the case, if they do make the playoffs, let's just say they surprise and they do win the division. You're going to look at Ellie De La Cruz as the reason why more so than Eugenio Suarez.
No, without question. Without question.
All right, so let's order them up 1 through 5. How do we see the NL Central playing out?
I'll go last because I have a surprise order.
I'm going Reds to win the division. Again, I have to be all into my surprise team. So I'm going to go all in with the Cincinnati Reds winning the NL Central. Cubs are 2. I will not be emotional in my decision. I'm going Brewers 3, Pirates 4. There'll be a big letdown because, again, you're running out of time if you're at Pittsburgh with Skeens. So Pirates 4, and then Cardinals 5.
The fighting Cardinals. They've always have won.
That's a fall for grace that needs to be studied.
Yeah. Oh, why you hire your manager back needs to be studied big time.
Couldn't happen to a nicer team, by the way.
That's true. Go ahead, Alan. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go Brewers 1, Reds 2, Cubs 3, Pirates 4, Cardinals 5.
I have the same exact order as Jonathan. Reds 1, Cubs 2, Brewers 3, Pirates 4, Cardinals 5. That was my order. Right, I thought I would be surprised with the Reds that won, but no.
All right. So from the Great Central, as we head out east to the NL East, a Braves team that's starting to get healthier, the Phillies team that's starting to get older. You got the Mets, who are just the Mets. Yay, Mets. Do they need Grimace back, don't they, Scott?
Definitely. Grimace needs.
You got a young Nationals team who just traded their ace away, but you never know what could happen with Washington. And then probably the biggest anomaly of them all, the Miami Marlins. So underrated team out of the NL East.
Do we dare say the Braves? Nobody's talking about them. Nobody is talking about the Braves. Everybody's talking about the Phillies, the Mets. Nobody said a word about the Braves except, they're all starting to get healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if the Braves go back to the way they have been, which is really good. If Spencer Strider can stay healthy and Chris Sale can stay healthy, that's a good 1-2 combination at the top of the rotation that you have. You have some, Schwellenbach is a big loss for them, obviously. But I think the offense could be really dangerous this year in Atlanta. I think if Acuna can get back to the Acuna that we all know and loved, I think if Austin Riley has a really good campaign. I know they lost Ozuna, but I think they have some pieces around that can fill that in and be fine. I'm gonna say the Braves are the underrated team. There's just something why nobody's talking about them this year. I've not heard word one about them, other than that they're getting healthier, obviously. But I'll say the Braves. Sorry, Jonathan.
I'll say I agree with you that the Braves are flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Concerns me that Schwellenbach had elbow surgery. It concerns me that Hudson Waldrop had elbow surgery. It wasn't Tommy John for either one of them. It was bone spurs, so they're not out for the year as of right now. And I'm hopeful, and there's optimism that they will pitch again this year, but that hurts. That does hurt because again, Waldrop was phenomenal in 2025 and just came out of the blue. He kind of helped that pitching staff be more competitive after AJ Smith-Shawver's elbow blew up with Tommy John, and Ronaldo Lopez had the shoulder issue again. And Strider was not healthy, still not really healthy at that point. I think there is some question marks with the pitching side still with Strider. Is Strider going to be back to what he used to be prior to the second time that he had? There is a legit concern right now because the velo hasn't returned. He's still about 3 to 4 miles an hour less than where he was pre-Tommy John. So there is some concern about Strider's longevity at that point. Chris Sale, his health being on the older side, being 36, he'll be 37 years old here later this month. Are we still seeing the greatness of Chris Sale? I'm very hopeful on that because I think if he goes down, then the Braves season's just about over. You bring in some guys like Martin Perez to kind of compete and maybe see what you can get out of him as a holdover. You do have Bryce Elder competing. Grant Holmes is competing. Ronaldo Lopez is healthy again right now. I think the bullpen is going to be a bounce back for this team. And you have a lot of good pieces. You have Raisel Iglesias. You were able to go steal Robert Suarez and use him as an 8 guy now. So I think that's a huge boost for them. And how the pitching staff has pitched so far in spring training is very promising. But I think there's still some questions on that. So, all right, go back to now. We're talking about underrated team. I won't say the Braves just to give a different answer. I'm going to say the Marlins. And I understand that the Marlins, why the Marlins, they make some questionable moves here and there. I like what they have with some of the guys. Obviously, Yuri Perez, the young phenom pitcher that they have, who they still haven't trying to figure out what are they going to do with him. But you're talking about again another pitcher that's electric, young pitcher that's electric. Yuri Perez is one of those guys. You have some young pitch players in this team that is really good. They're gonna steal some games. They're gonna steal some wins. They're gonna steal some series this year. Yep. It's a matter of what does the front office decide to do? How do they figure out ways to make this team better? And when do they turn the corner to be competitive? That's the question mark so far for this team is when do they say we need to start winning ball games now and being able to help this team out? But you have a lot of good, talented young players. Do they show the development of winning some games here and there? I think they're going to. They're going to be very pesky. And when we have the Marlins pesky, we know they're on it's kind of like the Rays when they do their thing and they're just starting to be pesky. We know they're turning the corner. The Marlins are no exception to that. They can be pesky where they're going to be really good. It's just a matter of does the front office allow them to be good long enough before you ship them out and say, all right, well, we're going to do the rebuild again. But so I think with the amount of young talent this team does have with Yuri Perez and Sandy Alcantara, and you have Kyle Stowers in the lineup too, this team can be pretty scary. So I think the underrated team in the East is the Marlins.
Don't they seem to win like 75 to 81 games every year? Just out of nowhere?
Yeah.
And then you get that random season where they win 90 games and make a playoff run. And it just It's crazy what Miami is sometimes.
It's a matter of, does the front office allow the development to take place?
That's exactly what it is.
Will they let them do it long enough before they just say, hey, we can't afford you anymore?
Yeah, it's almost like the front office says, all right, this year we're going to go for it. So we're gonna gear up to go and win 90 games. And then the year after, they just tear it down again and say, okay, we're going to be a 60-win team. So.
Yeah, and then I'm right here with you too, Scott, about the Braves. It's like they feel like it seems like the media is already writing them off and putting them as like the third place team. Obviously with the New York market, they're going to hype the Mets up to Kingdom Come. The Phillies are the top dog until somebody knocks them off. But I think if Atlanta stays fully healthy this season, they are the team to beat in the NL East. So I kind of have to agree with you there. Overrated team. Overhyped, overrated team. And I think I know what a lot of our answers might be.
It's the Mets. I just don't like what the Mets have done, and their pitching staff, I don't like it at all. I said the same thing last year, but I'll say it again this year. I do not like it at all. I just think the Mets, they choked away that playoff spot last year when they had it all but sewn up. And they down the stretch, they were an awful baseball team. And I think Francisco Lindor is about to take a step back, and I think that lineup is going to miss Pete Alonso like you can't believe. So I'm going to say it's the Mets in this division. That makes Jonathan happy, I think.
That makes me very happy. I love that. Part of me wants to lean towards the Phillies. I think you have an older roster. We saw I know Harper had the big hit, the big home run, but we saw Harper struggle. We saw Schwarber struggle. Are they going to both struggle like that in throughout a 162 game season? No. But are we going to? Do I think that a step back is going to happen for both of them? I think so. Trey Turner, how much longer is he going to continue to be what he is? As a top end type shortstop at 32 years old, going to be 33 later this year. The numbers weren't great for Turner. 304 average, yes, but the home run numbers were down. 15 home runs, 69 RBIs. It was kind of a very streaky 304 average. You're talking about an outfield as well that's very susceptible defensively. You do add Adolis Garcia to the outfield because he's going to have to play outfield more. He's not going to be a DH for them because you have Schwarber as a DH. So you're going to count on a 227 hitter with that Adolis was in 2025 to essentially provide what for you? Like he has a lot of.
Let's be honest about that. Adolis is there for his defense. Adolis is there for his outfield defense because that's his greatest attribute is his outfield defense. Like you said, Jonathan, he was only 223 last year. He's kind of a disappointment for the Rangers last year. After what he did in the 2023 World Series run, the great postseason that he had, to have the fall off that he had 2 years later is kind of disappointed a lot of Rangers fans. So
right, but let me ask you because you watched him a lot more than I did. Are we sitting here saying Adolis Garcia is a top end outfielder defensively?
No,
maybe not the top end outfielder. He definitely has a cannon arm, but he's got one of the better arms. But he's not like Rangers were a good defense last year. The thing was like, and like you said, I've seen it with Adolis throughout his career. He does struggle at times with placement in the outfield. But it's like when he gets that one, I feel like that's why he was brought in was because of it's the same reason why the Yankees traded for Joey Gallo, essentially. Was for the outfield arm. They think they could get a power bat out of him. If he's productive enough, he can start to hit a little bit. But that's the thing is he hits for power or nothing. He hits for power or nothing, and there are times he does struggle in the outfield.
But that's the thing. Other than that 2023 season, what has Garcia done that you could say, okay, he that's a really good outfielder? And
just hope if you're a Phillies fan, just hope that he plays the Astros more than like twice this season, and you'll get a few wins.
Oh, God.
For some reason, when he plays the Astros, it's like he's on a whole nother level.
But I never liked the Garcia get for the Phillies anyway. I never liked it. I didn't understand why they did it. Oh, I kind of understand why, because Castellanos went bye-bye, but I never understood why they were so high.
I think I do. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sitting here saying that Garcia is going to be a difference maker in the outfield defensively for you. How streaky is he going to be? Is he going to get his? Can he bat 260? Is he going to figure it out to where he can bat 260 for you, 265? Which even then, that's still kind of low for the offense that you need to have. And I think that's going to be a big question mark for you as a team. I'm trying to pull up the stats to see when he last batted. Let's see his career averages.
He's batting 300, but this spring training he's batting 300.
2022 was his career high 250 average. 2023 was 245 average. I mean, and again, 2023, 30. That was basically his career best season with 39 home runs, 107 RBIs at a 245. If you get that kind of production, I guess you can be okay with it because you're getting 30 plus home runs, something that you weren't getting with Castellanos. But is the season in 25 the Garcia that you're going to get in 26, or is it the 23-24 Garcia? I think that's where the Phillies need to figure out which of those Garcia you get. If you're getting the year that he had in 2025, and that's just kind of the trend that you're going backwards if you're Philadelphia. Absolutely. With an outfield that's not a great outfield. I think they're going to take a huge step back from the talent wise for it. Yes, your older team still. JT Realmuto, 35 years old, or he'll be 35. Actually, he's 35 today. 35 years old today.
Oh, happy birthday, JT.
Harper's 33 years old, be 34 later this year. Bohm is 30 years old, or he'll be 30 years old later this year. I mean, you're talking about a team that is on the older side. It is still a good team, but it is older. Trey Turner, he'll be 33 later this year. The younger guys.
You're wrong. Do you not like the Phillies makeup this year? I don't like the Phillies make roster at all.
I don't.
You should have signed. You should have signed Suarez back where the Red Sox got him. I think if you signed Suarez back, I think you would have been okay in pitching wise.
Well,
that's a big loss for them again too.
That's where I also want to go too, because you're getting Zach Wheeler back, who's coming off a thoracic outlet syndrome, which is an injury that we don't see pitchers come back from.
Right.
This is the same injury that ended the career of Steven Strasburg.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit here saying he's gonna be the same pitcher? I don't think so. I think that you're talking about a risk. You're hoping Aaron Nola can kind of get it turned around a little bit more and be what we know him to be, what he was earlier in his career. Jesus Luzardo is really good. You locked him up. Christopher Sanchez is really good, and hoping he continues. Taijuan Walker had a pretty good year last year. I'm pulling up his numbers from last. He had a good year for you when he needed to give you opportunities. 4.08 ERA. He was hit hard at times, but when it mattered most, he did look good at times. But there was just a lot of times where he got hit hard. Andrew Painter is now part of the staff too. A young promising pitcher that's coming up. I think the pitching side is going to be a big concern. I think trusting Zach Wheeler coming back from an injury that does not really you don't return from, and saying that he's going to be the Zach Wheeler who's a Cy Young candidate Wheeler. I don't think so. I don't. So I think there's a lot of issues with this team. I think there's a lot of question marks with this team. I think they're older in the position player side, and that's going to be a big factor where guys like Harper, who will have moments looking good, Schwarber will have moments looking good, Realmuto will have little moments looking good, Bohm will have moments looking good, but is it going to be consistent enough to win you a division? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
Do we see any Cy Young or MVP candidates coming out of the NL East?
Nah, Freddie Peralta would be the only one, and I don't think so. So I'd say no.
Peralta for the Mets, if the numbers are going to be good, potentially. Again, you're comparing whoever we choose to what we just talked about, Paul Skeens. I think that's. But I'll go Yuri Perez. I think same question. Will he put up numbers? Will he put up numbers that's going to be noticeable? Possibly. But it's again, you're in Miami. Will people really notice it? I don't know. Chris Sale, if he stays healthy, I think you can see Chris Sale kind of be in the conversation.
Maybe Strider, maybe outside Strider.
I don't think Strider just concerns me. I just think there's something not right with Strider still. So I'm either gonna go Yuri Perez or Chris Sale to be in the conversation with Skeens at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Anybody MVP wise?
Juan Soto would be the only one for me with the Mets. But
I mean, Ronald Acuna, Scott.
No,
Ronald
Jonathan,
Acuna?
I'm saying if he has a 45 home run season in the Mets and the Mets win the division and go to the playoffs, then yes, but no, otherwise no. No, I don't. I mean,
Ronald Acuna.
Ronald Acuna. Well, Ronald Acuna is the obvious one. I'm not going to bring him up. He's obvious. If he has a Ronald Acuna season, he's winning the MVP.
I think Jonathan's a little upset with you, sir. he's gonna ask for more players in that trade soon.
No, Acuna's the bring back for the Red Sox on any Greg Crochet trade. You
better give us
no Von Grissom's for the Red Sox. We don't.
You better give us all the pubs and around Fenway on top of getting if you want Acuna. We got to get Crochet.
I mean,
Acuna's
going to be MVP candidate anytime he plays. So that's the obvious one. I was just trying to find an underlying one, and Soto would be the underlying one. If anybody.
Scott,
I agree. Acuna's going to finish second at worst. Huh?
He's going to do the reverse to share trade. Trade us Acuna, and we're going to give him this.
You mentioned that name again. See what you're doing? You mentioned that name again. Acuna's going to finish 1 or 2 in the MVP if Acuna is right. He doesn't get hurt. It's obvious. So.
Well, what we have seen from him in the World Baseball Classic is he is healthy. Yes. The legs, the knees healthy, and I think we knew it was a better Acuna this past year from recovering from ACL than the first time in 2022. He didn't look right at all that year, and then what happened in 2023? He won the MVP, and he was phenomenal. Yeah. 2022, he was smarter. 2025, he was smarter about how he was playing to protect the knee, and he put up phenomenal numbers last year. Now he's healthy again. He is back. Ronald Acuna, La Bestia, is back. And I think we're going to see the best side of him. I think being around Team Venezuela, winning the WBC, and being a catalyst of that group. And I know Arias was the flag. I'm very disappointed, actually, that Acuna wasn't the flag bearer of that because he was the best player in the team. I know Michael Garcia was the MVP and everything, but when you talk about Team Venezuela, the player who's the face of that team was Ronald Acuna Jr. But being able to be part of that and lead that team and do what he did and the Energizer Bunny that he was for them, and I'm so as much as I'm disappointed to see USA lose, I cannot be more happy and proud that Ronald Acuna got to enjoy winning a championship because he missed out in 2021. He had the ACL in 21, so he didn't get to actually play in the World Series and enjoy that run. He got to enjoy this. He got to see what it was. He got to feel winning. I know he's going to bring that to Atlanta this year. He's going to be the Energizer Bunny for that lineup. He's going to put up phenomenal numbers. Is he going to do 40 and 70 again? No, he's not. Is he going to hit 40 home runs? Yes, he is. Is he going to probably steal 40 bases? Yes, he is. Is he going to play phenomenal defense and win a Gold Glove in right field? Yes, he is. Is he going to win a batting title? I might put him out there saying he's going to win a batting title. You're talking about someone who is who in the conversation of best players in the game with Ohtani, it is Ronald Acuna Jr. And if the Braves win this division, which I think they can, Ronald Acuna is going to be the biggest reason why, along with obviously the pitching staff, but Acuna, what he provides for this team is going to be the reason why. Ronald Acuna Jr., put it down, stamp it right now, Alan, is the MVP of the National League of 2026.
Did the Braves bring in a coach that is going to help him be smarter running?
Yes, they brought in the hitting coach for the Mets, who was very, very high by a lot of the Braves players.
Yeah.
how they were able to run bases and what they were able to provide for them. And they did replace a lot of the base coaches too for them and kind of make it a little bit more hands-on with things to get him in the right mentality. They have changed a lot of the philosophy that they've done in the past to make it smarter and allow Acuna to be able to handle things differently this year. They have done an overhaul with that team, and I think that's going to be very beneficial for him. But again, he's healthy now too.
Yeah.
So you're taking the training wheels off, and you're taking the shackles off of Acuna, and you're going to see the best version, which was what we saw in 2020 in 2023 when he won the MVP that year. We saw the best version of Acuna. We're going to see that again in 2026.
All right, let's order them up 1 to 5. How do we see the NL East playing out?
Okay. Braves 1, Phillies 2, Mets 3, Marlins 4, Nationals 5. I so want to put the Marlins ahead of the Mets, but I just can't get there yet.
See the Mets. Be the Mets.
I'm going. Shocker.
I'll go first, so you can do yours last. I'm going Braves 1, Mets 2, Phillies 3, Marlins 4, Nationals 5.
Braves are 1. I think that the pitching is going to be pretty good. I think they're going to, even though they've lost Schwellenbach and Waldrop, I think this is going to be pretty good. So I go Braves 1, Phillies 2. I will pull the trigger, Scott, and go Marlins 3, Mets 4, and Nationals 5. I just think that there's that Mets team. There's something about it. They're just not that good, and there's so many issues. There's so many problems. And Scott and Cohen and Steve Cohen cannot get out of his own way sometimes, and it's just going to create some more drama with him. So I think there's just deeper issues, especially now. Who's I know Lindor is a leader, but so is Alonso. So who replaces Pete Alonso? Because we know Juan Soto.
Right. I'm going to say this. Bo Bichette is
not only that, you traded your best outfielder in Brandon Nimmo too.
Bo Bichette's a great talent. I don't know if he can play in New York. I don't know with the media.
I completely forgot about that. You're putting Bo Bichette, who hasn't really played third base. You're going to put him at third base, and we've seen this. It's almost. I'll say this, and I know it's very extreme, so I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I'm about to say, Bo Bichette at third base almost kind of gives me the feel of Jose Altuve in left field.
Yes, I agree.
He doesn't have the arm. I know he plays a shortstop for a period of time, but the glove and arm that he needs to have at third, he doesn't have it. There was a reason why he played second base. One, the glove wasn't good enough to play shortstop. The arm wasn't great all the time. You're going to put him on a place where he's got to make that throw even more, which is a lot hard, even more hard at times, and say your glove has to be better. That's a stretch. So I think he's a fish out of water at third base, and it's going to create issues. It's going to create big issues for that Mets defense.
And before we get to the American League, that injury he had for most of the year, end of the year last year, that worries me a lot. That he's not a quick recoverer, and if he gets hurt, it's going to be a long stretch before you see him play a baseball game again. So Mets, be prepared. You paid big money to get him. You might not get your return on investment on what you paid. So,
all right. So that is the National League. We'll probably give, if we have time here at the end, we'll give NLCS and World Series predictions and stuff like that. But from one east side of the country to the other, you've got the bustling. Obviously, you got the other half of New York City to talk about. You've got the bustling metropolis that is Scott's hometown of Boston. You got the little tiny city of Baltimore, Maryland, who kind of underwhelmed a lot of people last year. Tampa Bay, who could always be a wild card, and then the defending American League champions, who could run it back potentially in the Toronto Blue Jays. So, Scott, I'll go with you first, since this is your division. Underrated team in your American League East.
I would say it's the Baltimore Orioles. I think everything that went wrong with the Orioles last year did go wrong. I think the Alonso signing gives them a middle of the order bat that will get them home runs, drive in runs. I don't know if the batting average will be there, but they have a great young core in Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson and all that other stuff. The one question I have with the Orioles is pitching staff. And what are you going to get from that pitching staff? And if you get anything from that pitching staff at all, I think the Orioles could challenge for the division title. But again, last year, just everything that could go wrong did go wrong for them. They're still young. The nucleus is still young. And then you just added a Pete Alonso in with that. So I like the team. I wish Cedric Mullins was still there because I would like them a little bit more, but he's not. Santander's in Toronto. He's been there for a year and a half now. But I kind of like the Orioles a lot. I kind of think the Orioles are going to sneakily sneak up on some of these teams like they did 2 years ago and be a factor in the division. Can they win it? Don't know if I'm willing to go there yet, but I think they could cause some havoc in that AL East with the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Blue Jays if they're in contention. So I'm going to say it's the Orioles because I don't want to give my team hope. That's why. So.
I think it's funny. You chose my team as the underrated team, and I'm going to choose your team as the underrated team. I think it's the Boston Red Sox. I think this is a very sneaky team. You have your ace, Garrett Crochet. You did add Ranger Suarez. I think if you have Suarez be a 3 or 4, I think you're in great shape. Sonny Gray has been added to this rotation as well. Pulling up his numbers, 14-8, 4.28 ERA. That's really high, yes, but a 1.23 WHIP, right around on the average side, on the really above average number for it. But he was still 14-8, with wins right there, 201 strikeouts. I think that gives you a pretty good arm to add to it. You have some of the younger pitchers that you do have, Cutter Crawford, Johan Oviedo, Brian Bello. Like you have something with this pitching staff that you're going to look at and say it's pretty competitive. And again, it allows you, if you have these younger guys, if that are on this staff, if their development continues to be what you're hoping, that does move Suarez down to the 4, and you're very comfortable with Ranger Suarez as a 3-4 pitcher. If he has to be your number 2, I think there is a little bit of concern. But again, it's I said a little bit because Ranger Suarez is an innings eater. He will get you 150 innings. He will be able to get you 25 to 26 games. He'll be able to be productive for you. 3.2 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. Like he can provide you production. And if you can give him some run support on top of it, I think you're even set. Your bullpen is really good too. You added Aroldis Chapman, Garrett Whitlock. Again, despite the hit that he gave up, Garrett Whitlock was really good in the WBC. Yeah. And I think that's a huge confidence boost he's going to have moving into the season as well. Some good arms in the bullpen. You have something with I think you have something with the offense. Carlos Narvaez, I think he's going to continue to be a little bit more productive. I think he'll be a little bit productive again for you in 2026. 241 average, 15 home runs, 50 RBIs. I think that's pretty good for what you're trying to get out of him. With that, if that's your production, great. I think you're ecstatic for that going into this season with it. Wilson Contreras, I don't think you're going to get the best out of Wilson Contreras anymore, being what he has been the last few years. But getting him out of the toxic environment that was St. Louis might be very beneficial for him. Mm-hmm. If you can get a 265, 270-ish average, I say 265 more so, 20 to 25 home runs, 80 RBIs, which is what he did last year with a better team this year. If you can get something like that from him, I think you'll be very happy in Boston for that. But you saw a lot of the development of the year players in the WBC. Jaron Duran was absolutely phenomenal from Mexico. Abreu coming out of just absolutely bursted onto the scene at a high elite level with Team Venezuela as well. Your Roman Anthony coming for the USA, like this, your outfield showed out with Anthony Duran and Abreu and how they performed and played in the WBC. I think people in Boston are ecstatic about the outfield that they have. I know I just talked a little bit about the Phillies outfield. The Red Sox outfield, left, right, and center. This could be an elite outfield in all of baseball. Trevor Story is going to be the big. I think it's going to be a big question mark. What do you get with him? What are you getting at him, and where are you gonna get the most out of him? If he can kind of find a way to get to 275 to 280 average, if he can find a way to get to that point and still be 25 to 100, 25 home runs to 100 RBIs, but she was at 96 in 2025, I think you're going to be, again, Boston is going to be ecstatic. There's some question marks, yes, but the potential of this team is at a level that you can sit here and say they are going to be contenders in 2026. That's where I lean, not going full in on it, but I lean to that being the case in this season, that the Red Sox are the sneaky underrated team in the East.
There's one more name you mentioned that will come up too. So
I agree with you. I think the Red Sox could be really good this year. I like that makeup, but my surprise team is the Tampa Bay Rays. Because it seems like, I know you still got a group of young of veterans there, obviously, with Yandy still there. You traded for Gavin Lux, who could be a solid veteran piece for you potentially. But I think it's going to come down to two guys, Aranda and Caminero, especially in the lineup. I think if those two guys have a productive 2026, I think the Rays will surprise a lot of people this year. If their pitching can get going, I know their pitching, especially lineup-wise, doesn't look all that great. I think I looked and saw McClanahan's the third in the rotation right now projected. But if that rotation can get going for Tampa Bay, and I know they're playing in a minor league ballpark too, which is the worst thing for them.
No, they're back in.
Are they back? Are they back?
They're back. Tropicana. The roof's been repaired. They're all set to play there.
Okay. Well, in that case, it's still Tropicana, but I think Tampa Bay could surprise a lot of people this year. I kind of like the makeup of their team. Not saying they're going to be world beaters or anything, but Scott knows from experience when you're fighting for a pennant race and you have to play a Tampa Bay team that has nothing to lose, that could give you fits.
No fun. It's no fun.
So I think Tampa Bay's going to give everybody in the AL East a lot of fits this year. All right. Looking at the borough in New York, who's the overrated team this year?
That's easy. For me, it's the Yankees. Should I say the Blue Jays? The Blue Jays might be overrated. No, it's the Yankees. I just don't like the way Aaron Boone manages games, number one. I'll preface this by saying I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm a Yankees hater. I don't like the way Aaron Boone manages games, number one. Number two is we saw it in the World Baseball Classic when Aaron Judge needed to get a hit, he struck out. He's not the clutchest guy in baseball. And Garrett Cole, I guess, is he going to be back May 1st? Is that what they're talking about?
April said like around May is when Cole's supposed to be back, I think, is what she heard.
So what are we going to get from Garrett Cole this year? I think we're going to get good. But if we don't get good, Max Fried is the ace of that staff. And he's solid and he's great.
And you don't have Rodon either. You don't have Rodon until midseason, too.
And you don't have Rodon. So I get that the rookie last year that pitched in the playoffs Slittler did a great job. But then the second start after the Red Sox series, he kind of didn't look the same as he did in the first start. So, again, he's going to go through his inconsistency. So I don't like the Yankees top to bottom much at all. I think they could be – they're going to finish mid-80s wins, I think.
There's a lot, Scott, of level-headed Yankees fans, and I know it's hard to believe there's some of those out there. There's a lot of level-headed Yankee fans that said Boston should have won that series.
I believe so. I would agree, but the Red Sox just didn't perform in that game 3. So I think it's the Yankees. I mean, I don't know what we're going to get from them this year. They could be really good, or they could be kind of good, or they could be really bad. So I don't know what we're going to get from them. I don't like the lineup at all. I do not like their lineup. So
I mean, I can go down the list and say the same thing about the Yankees, and I can spend a good amount of time bashing them. I am an admitted Yankee hater, and I am not afraid to say it to anybody. But I'll go a different direction just to not have to beat a dead horse, even though, again, that horse I would absolutely love to beat to death. I'll go with a different group, and I know you talked about it, Scott, that as far as the underrated team, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles. I still don't really understand what the direction this team has been over the last couple of years and what they've been able to do. I know they have, getting Kyle Bradish back from injury, Shane Baz, Chris Bassett, Trevor Rogers. You got some decent arms, Zach Eflin, but it hasn't been the difference maker that you need at the top of your rotation like you did when you brought in Corbin Burns from Milwaukee all those years ago. You haven't done anything still to say our pitching needs to improve at the top of the rotation. You have a all-star closer in Ryan Helsley. You have decent bullpen. You have Yannier Cano, who has been an electric pitcher for you. You have good bullpen arms, but why are you not doing something for your rotation and really providing that number one arm that you need? Because guess what? Jose Barrios is still in Toronto, and he's really good. Garrett Cole's going to come back for the Yankees. He's really good. Max Fried is with the Yankees. He is really good. Garrett Crochet's with the Red Sox. He is really good. Why have you avoided in Baltimore to provide your team with an ace to lead the staff? I don't understand it. I think the big question, too, with this team is what is going to happen with Adley Rutschman? What happened to him? He fell off hard last year. Now you throw in that you have another young catcher coming up behind him, as Sam Basallo, and what you're trying to figure out how to utilize him and Rutschman together. Where are you going to create that opportunity? Because guess what? You brought in Pete Alonso to play first base. What does that mean for Ryan Mountcastle? Who Mountcastle has been productive for you for the last few years. All right. And he also had a big step back last year. So now what do you do with him? I don't really get what the direction of this team has been and what they're trying to achieve. You're talking about a lot of question marks in the position players on top of question marks on the starting rotation with you. And you were the class of the division for 2 seasons. You were a first place team in this division for 2 years, and it wasn't even close how much talent you had compared to the others that were chasing you, and you blew it up voluntarily with poor decisions. And I just think that they are nowhere near anywhere close to figuring this out as a front office and trying to put themselves in a conversation to get back to being a contender in this division. The Yankees, Red Sox, and the Blue Jays have lapped you. And we know how the Tampa Bay Rays work. It's a matter of time till they get their cycle, which is always done. It's always a cycle. We sell, we build, we compete. We sell, we build, we compete. At some point here, that Rays team is in the process of building, and they're going to be competing again. And guess what, Baltimore? You're back at the bottom of the division again with the amount of talent you have for them. I don't know what they're doing. I think that they made moves to kind of tell their fan base, hey, we do care about winning. We're going to try to do what we need. That's why we brought Pete Alonso back. And the fan base is saying, great, awesome. Who's the ace of our staff? They don't know. Kyle Bradish, hopefully. But right now, I don't see what they're doing. I know they're trying to be they're contenders, but they're nowhere close to it. And I could really see this team being a last-place team in 2026.
Does it seem like the Orioles just basically sign not the bottom of the barrel, but the level above that when they talk about their pitching? We got a bunch of guys. None of them are outstanding, but they all could be kind of good. It seems like the Orioles do that every year after year after year. Don't sign the big name, except for Corbin Burns that 1 year. Other than that, it's like, okay,
rotation-wise.
Yeah, rotation-wise. Because they got Shane Baz and they got Chris Bassett. Those guys aren't great, but they're the Orioles hoping they can be great. So,
yeah, Zach Eflin, who had moments of being really good for Tampa for a few years ago, but right now he's not the same pitcher. Dean Kramer is still there with you. He's not really been the same. Bradish coming back from Tommy John. You're hoping he can be what you know he can be. Because, again, he had good numbers. Before Tommy John, he was putting up really good numbers. He's got a career 1.16 whip with a 3.47 career ERA. Like, I mean, he's
great.
Serviceable. How's he going to be? How's he going to be coming back from Tommy John right now? When he came back last year, yes. But where's he going to be? You're hoping Trevor Rogers, young guy coming up, that he can kind of continue to turn the corner. But Shane Bass, Chris Bassett, Zach Eflin as your fillers, I agree with you. That's was your as I just use the word filler. But Rogers, Bradish, and Kramer are not top end guys.
No.
Where's your top end guy that you need to say, hey, if we to extend winning streaks or to be a stopper and stop losing streaks? You don't have one. And I think I said the Alonso signing was very perplexing because all it was showing is their fan base, hey, we do have money, we're going to spend it, but just not on the position that you want to and what you want us to do. And we're not going to fill out the pitching staff like we need to.
Alan, you got some live on?
To your point, Scott. To your point, Scott, 3 years ago, this team was the number 1 seed in the American League going into the postseason.
Yeah.
Since Texas swept them in the ALDS, they have not been the same team since.
It's the Rangers' fault. It's the Rangers' fault.
Like you said, Gunnar Henderson's kind of been really the only guy that's kind of stood out because
Cedric Mullins at times when he was in Baltimore stood out.
Well, now he's in Tampa Bay. Now he's in Tampa Bay. So there you go.
He's in Tampa Bay. He left New York.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, he's in Tampa Bay right now. So
okay.
I saw that when I was looking up Tampa Bay's roster just a minute ago. So, but yeah, it just seems like something happened to Baltimore after that year. I mean, they did compete. They did get back to the postseason the following year, but something happened to they weren't the same team after that season.
No. I mean, you're talking about. I'm looking at some of their young guys who are top prospect players: Heston Kjerstad, Colton Cowser. Again, obviously we knew about Jackson Holiday. Heston Kjerstad last year limited. He didn't have a full season, limited playing time because he was struggling. 192 average, 4 home runs, 156 RB at bats. Colton Cowser, who was one of the top prospect position players for them, 327 ABs, 196 average, 16 home runs, 40 RBIs. This is not good. And so this is a detriment to your development system because you were loaded your evaluation and your scouting development, where you evaluated. That's saying we had our top 10 prospects were position players, and people were sitting here saying, including myself, including you, Scott. Yeah, trade a handful of these guys to go get you a top end guy. Even after you traded for Corbin Burns, even after you did go get Corbin Burns, you still had a plethora of position players that you could have unloaded to get you a top end rotation guy when Corbin Burns left. You still had opportunity to do that with the amount. And now the problem here is your top end guys, their value is so low because they're not performing in the big leagues. Now you can't trade them. Now you're stuck. So your evaluation was wrong in what you had, and your development of those position players has been abysmal, and now you're in the position that you're at.
Colton Cowser was the big name 3 years ago. Remember, Colton Cowser's going to come up. He's going to be the guy. He's going to hit 35 home runs, this, that, the other thing. Now you'd be lucky to get Brandon Pfaadt for Cowser. Mm-hmm. If that, from Arizona. That's the guy. So.
All right. Well, I know people are going to throw Aaron Judge's name in there for MVP, of course, but out of this
Crochet.
Crochet.
I think Max Fried could be a Cy Young guy. I really do. He had a great year last year. Can he duplicate it and be better? I don't know, but I thought Max Fried came over to the Yankees and did a phenomenal job in his first year. So I would look at him. I don't know if there's anybody. I mean, the Blue Jays signed the nightmare that Dylan Cease to a huge contract. I don't see it with him. I don't see any Toronto pitchers. Those would be the only 2 in the division, if I'm not missing anybody.
Yeah, it's definitely Crochet. I looked at, just saw Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays, but he's got a stress fracture in his elbow. And he's going to pitch through it. So he's not going to be a serious. He's not going to be out for as long. But that's still something that's going to be something to watch. So
Yep.
Garrett Cole's not going to be Garrett Cole's not going to be the pitcher. I think we're going to expect him to be right off the bat. It's going to take some time. Fried, I think Fried's going to put up good numbers, not elite numbers. So I think at the moment right now, you got to look at it as Garrett Crochet is going to be the front runner as far as the American League for Cy Young in the East, and he's going to be in the conversation of top 3 pitchers in Cy Young completely and all throughout the American League.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Crochet is probably the only one I see out of this grouping that's going to be in that conversation. So, MVP.
Well, Judge, obviously, he's one. I don't know if the Red Sox roster is made up of anybody that could possibly get numbers for MVP.
I'll throw Vlad. I'll throw Vladdy in there.
Vlad, Vlad's another one. Tampa really doesn't anybody. I don't want to say Alonso.
I'll say Caminero, maybe.
Oh, damn it, Alan.
Go ahead, Jonathan. Go ahead.
So if I were going to have another surprise team, it's a Tampa Bay Rays for what they are and how they just have this system in place that I could see them being more competitive than what we expect them to be. And if that's the case, again, we're talking about what Jackson Churio did for or what he's going to be, what he has done and what he will do in 2026 for the Milwaukee Brewers. Junior Caminero, for what he has shown in the WBC for the Dominican Republic and what he can be and what his trajectory is. Talking about a guy who hit 45 home runs, 110 RBIs last year.
He's only 22. Holy jeez.
Yes.
My
God. And this kid he's talking about electric. He is electric. He's going to put up numbers. If he can get that average up to 280 and hit 40 home runs, so 100 plus 110 RBIs again. And if Tampa is competitive, I think Junior Caminero's got to be a big consideration for MVP in the American League. And I think, again, like you're talking about, what we saw him do in the WBC just tells us he's going to have a big, big season this year.
In his career, he's hit a home run every 14 at-bats.
Yes.
Average. That's amazing for a 22-year-old to do. And I think he could be the leading candidate if the Rays were ever to get in the playoffs this year. Coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I say if I were to pick a second surprise team, it would be Tampa. Just because, again, you talk about a team. We talk about in different levels of teams that you can't just count out because Kevin Cash just knows the system that he put together and built, and just knows. Like I said, it's a 3-step system: rebuild, it's sell off, build, compete, contend. Sell off, rebuild, and contend and compete. They sold off. They've been building up this roster, and now they're with the young superstar. Because, I mean, think about it as well. And I hate to say his name because of how awful of a human being he is, but they also had Wander Franco not too long ago, who was supposed to be the superstar player of this franchise too. That you could have had if he wasn't an idiot for the stupid stuff he was doing behind the scenes. You had Wander Franco with Junior Caminero on the left side at shortstop at third base. That's probably that potentially could have been the best left side in baseball.
I'd pick the Rays to win the division if Wanda was there. I think pretty close.
But looking at kind of what you said, though, you had Gavin Lux, who's coming in to kind of be a veteran presence for you. Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda catch at first base. Moving Yandy over to first base full time now. Pitching wise, again, it's not great names, but you get Shane McClanahan back, which you're hoping that after Tommy John he can figure it out. Steven Matz is not a bad pitcher either.
No.
Like you're looking at him and saying, basically, can you be what you should have been before all the injuries happened to you? Griffin Jacks, Garrett Clevenger, and the bullpen. I mean, good bullpen arms. Yeah. I would. Jake Fraley's not something to be, to blow you away from. Cedric Mullins, he's probably not going to be the great. Obviously, you have the young. And talking about the other young superstar, you do have in Chandler Simpson, speed demon on the bases over there. Like, you have some talent. Are they going to contend this year? No, obviously not. But can they? Kind of what I said about the Marlins, like, can they steal games? Absolutely, absolutely. Junior Caminero is going to put up phenomenal numbers. He's going to go off, and I think no matter what, you're going to have to put him in the conversation of one of the top players in the American League when it's all said and done.
Right. Agreed.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's order these guys up 1 to 5. How we see the AL East shaping up?
I'll go last because I'm going to sound like a homer. I'll go last.
All right, I'm going to go. I'll go first with this. I'll go Toronto 1, Boston 2, Tampa 3, Yankees 4, Baltimore 5.
I'm going to go Red Sox 1.
Oh, I don't sound like a homer.
Blue Jays 2. With knowing that Berrios is going to have pitching through elbow pain, I think again you did. I know we kind of bashed Bichette about being in New York, but again he fit really well in Toronto.
Yeah,
I think losing that's going to hurt them a lot. Guerrero's going to put up. He's going to put up his numbers. He's going to and everything. You do have some older guys on that team. I don't know if you're going to get the same production out of them in Toronto to do what they did last year. And we're essentially an inning away from or an out away from the World Series championship. So I'm gonna have, but I will have Red Sox 1, Blue Jays 2. I'll say Yankees 3 by a very small margin with the Rays 4 and Orioles 5.
I'll say Red Sox 1. I'll say Blue Jays 2. I'll say Orioles 3. Rays 4. Yankees 5.
Wow.
I just do not like I hate the Yankees. I'm with Jonathan. I hate the Yankees, but I just do not like their lineup and the back end of that rotation. I just don't. And I think this is the year Aaron Boone gets fired. I think this will be it.
Yeah, we've been saying that for 3 years.
I know, but I think if the Yankees would have finished
we've been saying between Ali Marmol and Aaron Boone, we've been saying that both of them are going to be fired over the last 3 years.
I know, but if the Yankees don't finish it at worst second in that division, if they finish third, fourth, or fifth, he's got to be gone.
Every year we've had this show, we've been saying Aaron Boone's going to get fired.
All right, I got the tip jar next to me. If Aaron Boone doesn't get fired, I'll put a 20 in the tip jar.
Also, shout out to Kevin Cash for staying consistent in Tampa Bay for sure.
Listen, the Rays could finish as high as second in this division. If Kevin Cash has his normal Kevin Cash year and Caminero comes through and that pitching rotation is decent, they could surprise teams and finish second. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Or they could finish as low as fourth. So, I mean, the range of motion, the range of outcomes is.
If they had a smaller margin, better pitching than what they do have right now, I'm absolutely jumping the race. I would absolutely jump the race to third. But again, you have a lot of question marks still. I know, and Garrett Cole is coming back. Max Fried is there. We don't know what McClanahan's going to look like. So that's why I have him fourth. But I agree. I said they would be my other surprise team, not to be a contender, but just to be better than what they are projected to be. But they're going to absolutely surprise and win games that it shouldn't win, though.
Yep.
All right, now to the division that a lot of people think is the most wide open division. Potentially,
this is the White Sox division to lose, baby. This is the White Sox division to lose.
Here we go.
I'm not doing the Boston thing. I'm not doing the Boston thing.
Last year, Detroit was the tops for the majority of the season until Cleveland made that miraculous run last month and stole the division. Tigers ended up getting revenge in the playoffs, getting farther than Cleveland did and knocking the Guardians out of the playoffs. Obviously, the Twins are the Twins. They've completely blown it up. It seems like everywhere from players on the field to people in the front office. Hey, we weren't allowed to talk about them last year because they couldn't win 50 games the prior year. They outdid themselves. They finally got over that hump. Kudos to the White Sox and, half of their players on Team Italy. AL Central. Who's underrated, overrated? Because I have a feeling that this is going to go by quick.
My overrated team. No, I can't even say they're overrated. Minnesota Twins. What are you doing in Minnesota? What on earth are you doing? You have Byron Buxton and Royce Lewis and Ryan and a bunch of whatevers, and then their pitching staff. It's Joe Ryan and then pray for rain. Basically, the Minnesota Twins could finish with 60 wins this year. Would not shock me. I just think there's no talent in Minnesota. I think that ownership group has done the fans and that those players totally wrong. I think the Twins are the most overrated team. Could be the most overrated team in baseball this year. I don't see them winning a lot of games. My underrated team is the Royals. I think the Royals are about to ascend to the next level in this division. Yes, I think the Guardians are going to be a thorn. Yes, I think Tarek Skubal and the Tigers are obviously they got talent, obviously going to be there in the end. But I just think the Royals with Bobby Witt and Cole Reagans leading that team and Pasquantino, I think in the World Baseball Classic, he had a great World Baseball Classic. I think if he ascends to the next level of his game, I think that would help Bobby Witt a lot. I think he needs a running mate to go with him. Sal Perez is older. I get that and stuff like that. He can DH, and they could be fine. The other guy for the Royals that I think is about ready to ascend is Michael Garcia. I think he had another guy that had a phenomenal World Baseball Classic. And if he takes that mindset into the regular season for the Royals, that's a weapon. So I think the Royals are the underrated team in the Central, and I think Twins are overrated.
Did we ever get to your surprise team of the year yet, or are we still away from that?
No, you've already passed it, but I will circle back to it after we do the previews.
Okay.
I'll say my overrated team for this division is the Detroit Tigers. I think getting caught by the Guardians last year is going to mess with them mentally. Mm-hmm. I think dealing with the Tarek Skubal offseason with arbitration and how that went about was very messy, and it's probably very a lot of feelings got hurt in the process. I think adding Framber Valdez, who he's on a reclamation project, and I don't know if he really understands what that means for him because how awful of a look he put himself in with the Astros last year. And then on top of it, you have the Justin Verlander returning to Detroit, which is probably going to be the farewell tour of Verlander in his career. Where do you look at and say that this team is focused on baseball and being a contender for the division? I don't, as far as pitching wise, I don't really see it be the case. Offensively, they really got caught and slowed down. I mean, they were not as great as they were hoping to be as the second into September and then going into the postseason. They were just not the same team throughout the year. Do Riley Green continue his development? I think he will, because again, as I said, he's someone that I'd like to see on the WBC team in the next go around for Team USA. I think you have Parker Meadows coming into his own in center field, that you're hoping that you're getting more out of him being a young player and really developing his skill set. Javi Baez, I think, was someone that you don't really know. Are you getting what production you get out of him? But he is becoming a little bit of a leader of this group with how he plays and how he's fit in with this team. Can he at least continue to provide you something at 33 years old and be able to be this guy who stays focused? To be determined. Spencer Torkelson, like, what are you getting out of him at this point of his career? He's not been as productive hitter as you were hoping he could be. Gleyber Torres, I think there's a lot of question marks. And I think, again, the pitching side of things being a huge, huge question mark. Are the pitchers that you have actually focused on doing the job at hand? I don't know. Casey Mize, you're hoping that he can figure it out as being the young pitcher that he is. You're hoping Jack Flaherty can at least provide you production and balance with Skubal, Valdez, and then what is Verlander going to provide you for you? You don't really know. So I think there's too many question marks, too many issues that this team is dealing with off the field behind the scenes that I think they're just not they're not going to have that good of a season because of those issues there. Underrated team, I agree. I think the Royals, I kind of had a little bit of a double take with the Royals. Where were they at and everything? I think there is some question marks for the Kansas City Royals as far as their pitching. Where are they? Like, how good is the pitching going to be this year compared to what it was last year? It was not as great. It was a big step back that you had. You obviously, again, Seth Lugo is not the pitcher that you're saying he's going to be your number one completely. He was a completely different pitcher than what he was in 2024. 8-7 with a 4.15 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. Dealing with some injuries. Cole Ragans, I think he needs to be the one that just steps up. He has got to be the one that steps up for this pitching staff and really take control and be the number one that they need to be. You have some other younger arms in there: Noah Cameron, Chris Bubik, Bailey Falter, Luinder Avila. Like, you're hoping those guys continue to take their steps forward in their development. Good bullpen arms, though. I will say you have good bullpen. Matt Strom, electric. Carlos Estevez, electric. Alex Lang, former LSU pitcher, he's been getting himself in the right direction. The heart and soul of this team is the offense. Vinny Pasquantino, as we said, what he has done in the WBC. Salvador Perez is still a profound professional, potentially a future Hall of Famer, potentially. Jonathan India, Mikael Garcia, I agree with you, Scott, that you said that he's taking a huge step forward. And then you obviously have the top three player of all baseball, Bobby Witt Jr. And I think being able to play this time at WBC, even though it was a bit up and down, you saw that he is a superstar in baseball right now. He is the best shortstop in the game. It's not even close. And I know I talked about Perdomo catching up to him, but as of today, March 18th, it's not close to anywhere near him. Very good team. Pitching has to be what helps them turn the corner to be able to contend with the Guardians. But for the moment right now, because they are flying under the radar, I do have the Royals as the underrated team.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you guys with the Royals, too. I think Cole Ragans takes that next step. We know Bobby Witt Jr. is a superstar. I think Kansas City could definitely take this division by surprise and ultimately win it at the end. To be a contrarian, though, as far as underrated team goes, and I'm about to make everybody mad in this panel, I'm going to say the Chicago White Sox.
Oh, that's it. Have a good night, everybody.
Because I think they're better than the Twins. Everybody left me. They're definitely better than the Twins. I think they are.
You're going down in history with Botkins. You understand that, right? You are choosing a fate that Nick Botkins has still yet to live down.
Hey, I picked the Nationals last year. They were terrible, so I'll eat
You're
that.
Not helping yourself. I picked the White Sox.
Oh,
I'm not saying they're my they're not my surprise team, by the way. Let's just start that out.
Oh my God,
they're not my surprise team.
So you're not picking them to win the division.
I think this division is just going to be worse overall compared to the rest of the MLB.
So you flip the coin and say this division is going to be awful. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the surprise team to be the worst team in baseball at one point.
I think they're getting better. I think they're starting to get
hope
better.
so. You couldn't get worse.
oh God.
At the very least, they'll be better than the Twins.
Alan, we banned them from the show for a whole year.
I know.
And the chance that when we turn the page, we turn the calendar to 2026, the first day that we really are turning the corner to 2026, you want to bring them up as the surprise team?
Hold on. The
In
views
the
of Alan
division,
Perales
not my
do not
actual
reflect
surprise.
The views of Rec Room Sports Hub.
I
Please,
agree with
please
you
disregard.
guys on the Royals. I think the Royals have potential to win the Central. I think the Guardians will still be in the mix. I'm not sold on the Tigers as many people are. I think the Tigers are going to fall off a little bit.
National West team to the Rockies then. If he's taking the White Sox, we've got to take.
I think I'm with you guys on the Tigers being overrated. I think they're going to fall off.
We're being so rude to you, Alan, right now. Give us your reason.
White Sox, I think they're not going to be competitive. I'll say that. They're not going to be competitive, but I think the moves that they're starting to make are going to start paying dividends this year. They're going to be a scrappy team. I don't think they're going to be winning a lot, I think they'll be around the 60 win mark again, 60, 65, but they're going to be a scrappy team. No one's going to want to play them late in the season.
I feel like I just went to the dentist for a root canal.
I'll just wait till we get to my actual surprise team.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But
you're going to pick the Angels, aren't you?
God, no. God, no. Never in my life.
That does tell me who you're.
That probably gave it away, but
that narrows it down.
I'm still going to do the bit regardless. But
all right, Alan, go ahead.
All right. Anybody we see, as far as Cy Young MVP status in the AL Central.
Well, Skubal for Cy Young, of course. I mean, that's a gimme. MVP. I'm not sure I see anybody in this division. Am I forgetting somebody? That
Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, potentially.
Yeah, but the Guardians are going to have to win.
I'll say Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, I think the Aaron Judge stranglehold in the MVP is about to loosen up and end here, I think. So I think Witt and Ramirez are the two MVP candidates, and I think Skubal's the Cy Young guy. Other than that, I don't see anybody else that is possible for it.
Or Cole Reagans, if Reagans pitches very well.
Yeah, he'd have to have a monstrous season. I don't see him having a monstrous. He'll have a good season, not a monstrous season. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see any Cy Young winner. Again, Skubal I know is the go-to because he's won it. He won it last year. He won it 2 times. I don't see that being the case. I don't see it to be the case. I think there's too much distractions with him right now. Yeah. There's too much going on, and I think there's going to be a dip in production. Especially with I think the Tigers are not going to be as good this year on top of it. So I'm actually ruling out that Skubal's not going to win the Cy Young. MVP, I think, it's either going to you can either have the conversation of Bobby Witt Jr. or Jose Ramirez being the two really only ones that are going to be in contention for the MVP.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, 1 through 5. Let's rank the AL Central here.
Go ahead, Alan. You go first. I want to hear this 1 through 5 from you. Go ahead.
Shut up. I'll go backwards. Twins 5, White Sox 4, Tigers 3. I'll go Royals 2, Guardians 1.
Oh, that's not bad. Royals 1, Guardians 2, Tigers 3, White Sox 4, Twins 5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close race. I'll give the slight edge to the Royals at 1 because I also think they'll make a move. I think both the Guardians and Royals will make moves on pitching, and it's a matter of who pitches better in that stretch. I think you got to go with. I think Ragans is probably going to pitch a little bit better than Bibby. I think Lugo will pitch a little bit better this year than Garrett Williams. I like their pitching. The Guardians' pitching is not great. So I think they're obviously both teams are going to make a move, but I'll give it to the Royals on the small edge, last week of the season type of thing. Guardians 2, Tigers 3, White Sox 4, Twins 5.
All right. So that's the AL Central, and we now move up to our final division, out west to the American League West, where
there's really nothing to talk about in this division.
Where the Mariners, the Rangers, the Astros are meh.
Yep.
The Astros are meh, and then you have a team that doesn't have a home quite yet. American League, American League West, underrated. Who we got?
Underrated team. I gotta give it to the A's. I think they are, and again, I hate it for the city of Oakland because all they've been wanting is just the opportunity to have a team to cheer for that can compete, and they've been doing everything, and now, as I said, I predicted this to be the case. that once they left Oakland, the owner was going to do this out of spite and pettiness, that he was just not going to spend money the entire time until they move out. They go to Sacramento. They start spending money. They spend money left and right, bringing Luis Severino in. They have some young, some potential young superstars. And Nick Kurtz, they found. Jacob Wilson has been phenomenal. They're actually signing more guys here and there. And I feel bad for the city of Oakland to have to just sit and watch that be the case as they're then moving to Vegas. And when they move to Vegas, as I told you guys, they're going to really break the bank open and just sign as many people as they can to turn that team into a contender. It's disgusting what Fisher did to that franchise and to the city, but I digress with it. Again, you have a lot of talent on that team. I think they're going to take another big step forward in this division. I think they will be the team that pushes the Mariners this year, more so than the other two teams down in Texas. So as of right now, the underrated team is the A's. My overrated team, I have to lean to the Astros. I just don't see this team being any good. I think that the culture of what they were is kind of starting to run its course. There's a lot of questions on where the team is direction. Like they've had guys that talking about, you've had young prospects that you wanted to bring up, but then you still have some of these older guys. You let guys walk. You're not spending money. You're not bringing in pitching to kind of help you contend. What is your direction as a franchise currently right now? I don't know if they have one. They've kind of removed themselves of their history, of the recent history of success. I think they're falling backwards. And I think you can see that the Astros are no longer they're not even going to be contended for a wild card, I don't think. They're still good, but there's still a lot of issues and a lot of questions with this roster. I don't think they're going to be good enough to challenge for a wild card spot. And with the A's being better, I think even with the Rangers being probably a little bit better too this year in certain areas, I think you're going to see the Astros really fall backwards. So I have the Houston Astros as my overrated team.
So I'm going to agree with Jonathan for all the same reasons with the A's. I think they're the underrated team. I don't think you could characterize the other three as underrated. And God, I'm not even going to talk about the other team in that division. I'm going to go a different direction than Jonathan did because I agree with him on the Astros. But I think the Mariners are the overrated team. Is Cal Raleigh going to hit 60 home runs again this year? I don't think so. I am always on the impression of beware of the career year because the following season after the career year there's usually a precipitous downfall. Now, can he hit 35 home runs? Yeah, he can hit 35 home runs. We haven't really seen it from Julio Rodriguez for a full season. We've seen stretches, but not a full season. I mean, my question with the Mariners is they got to the American League Championship Series. What are they going to do for an encore? Are they going to come back and be the same team and have the same hunger and all that other stuff? I don't know. That pitching staff was really good down the stretch last year and into the playoffs. Can they do the same thing over a stretch of a whole season? I don't know. Can they stay healthy? I don't know. So I'm going to say the Mariners are the overrated team in the American League West.
Scott, I agree with you on Seattle. And it's something that I've seen with this team time and time again. You have a great year, career-defining year, a great season, one of your best seasons in team history, and then the next year, down in the two. Not to mention Suarez is not there to back up Cal Raleigh anymore. And who knows if we're going to get the same thing with Julio Rodriguez that we did last year. And other than Castillo, I'm not a fan of Gilbert. Gilbert's starting to kind of strain me a little bit. And other than those two, really, who do the Mariners have in their pitching rotation? I'm not a fan of what the Mariners have right now. And I think there are some cases where some of the other teams, i.e. Texas, i.e. Oakland / Vegas, can come up and overtake this team. Now, for my underrated team and my official surprise team for 2026.
It's the Angels.
Ladies and gentlemen, gather around as we witness one of the greatest shows on planet Earth. You love them, you hate them. They make you pull your hair out, especially if you're in the American League West. It's the Traveling A's. What?
You had me for a second.
You thought I was going to say You thought I was going to say Texas, wasn't it?
You had me for a second that you were about to go say the Rangers. Yeah.
That's too.
I love.
When I said the Angels earlier, I knew you meant the A's, but as you were doing this little production, I was like, "Oh, he's going to say the Rangers."
No, I am a believer in what the A's are doing. I love the young core that they have. Obviously, you had the AL Rookie of the Year, both the winner and the runner-up in tow in that grouping. And again, I'm with you, Jonathan. It's if you're a fan in Oakland right now, you got to be sick to your stomach watching this. I really do think that this team could be a wild card team this year. I like the A's to be a wild card team this year. I think they've done enough to take that next step and be competitive in the American League this year. So I really like what the A's are going with. So that is my official surprise team of 2026 is the Traveling A's, as I am now going to call them.
Okay, so I had 3 teams. The A's were 1. The Reds were 2. My surprise team of the 2026 season is going to be the American League champion Red Sox. Only because I think they're going to be the American League champion. I agree with Jonathan. I think this team has plenty, and I'm not being a homer. This team has plenty of upside, and I bet it already that they're going to win the American League pennant. This team has plenty of upside. Their outfield is young, athletic, and fast. And the projected lineup is Roman Anthony slated at DH. So they have 4 outfielders that are fast, can hit with power, can hit it in the gap, and can catch anything that's hit to them. The guy that I'm highest on this year is Cedar Rafaela. I think he's a budding star in Major League Baseball, ready to break out. And I think this could be the year that he breaks out. He's not a 5-tool player, but he's pretty close. He's got 3 or 4 tools. So I think the Red Sox are going to go to the World Series and play the Dodgers this year. So I'm sorry to give away my World Series thing already, but I think the Red Sox are the surprise team only for the fact that they're going to the World Series this year, in my mind. There's nobody in the American League that scares me this year. Who scares you in the American League this year? Texas? The Yankees don't scare me. Nobody in the Central scares me. It's either Texas, Seattle, or Toronto, and that's it. I think if the Red Sox hit it right, they'll be in the World Series this year, playing the Dodgers again. Probably. So
before finishing out here on the AL West, MVPs or Cy Youngs out of the West?
MVP. Go ahead, Sam.
Nick Kurtz, maybe? Being an MVP candidate? It's possible. Rookie of the Year. I think he can take the next step with the A's. I think if the A's finish second and make the wild card, which is highly possible in that division, he could be an MVP candidate. I'm very high on Wyatt Langford this year. I think he could lead the Rangers in multiple categories. And it would not shock me either. And if the Rangers win that division, he could get a lot of votes for MVP. Cy Young.
I'm going to say Mackenzie Gore.
Logan Gilbert.
I'm going to say Mackenzie Gore because you're going to be – he's essentially you're putting him behind Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi in the rotation, but I think it's going to be to his benefit because Eovaldi's the opening day starter. I think they've said deGrom's going to probably be number 2, Gore will be 3, and then you have Jack Leiter 4. I think if Gore pitches well and has great numbers, I think he's going to be in that conversation.
I can see that. I think though the question for Gore is going to be: are you going to? Because again, you do have the Grom, you do have Evaldi, Jack Leiter's pitching better. Like, are you going to get more? Are you going to get noticed equally to have that opportunity to be getting Cy Young votes? I don't know. I think that's going to be what's hurting him. That will end up hurting him down the road. Will he put up good numbers for this team? Absolutely. Will he be a huge factor for the Rangers? Absolutely. I agree. I think
you're being added to a pitching staff overall that had the best ERA in baseball last year.
Yes. I think the MVP is going to be Nick Kurtz out of this division. I'm not going to say he will win the MVP, but he's definitely going to continue to put up numbers and do things that are pretty special that I think the A's fans have not seen in a very long time. And I've been very high on him as I put my WBC roster together. I have Nick Kurtz being basically one of the key figures in that lineup. I think he's just going to continue to get better and better and better, especially playing in a hitter-friendly ballpark at home in Sacramento, and then even going into Vegas in a few years when they go there, and it's going to be hitter-friendly there as well. So the numbers are going to be stacked for him. He's going to continue to grow and get better. I think that's something that we're going to watch Nick Kurtz really take off here, maybe not in 2026, but 2027 and 28. That we're talking about Nick Kurtz being one of the top first basemen in the game. Just because of what he is capable of doing down the road for it. Cy Young, I don't think there is a Cy Young candidate in this division. I know the Rangers have arms that can go be that, as you said, Alan Mackenzie Gore. I don't think the Grom is that anymore. I don't know if Evaldi has that in him anymore. Gore being the younger pitcher of the group and really more established of them. I think he can get the notoriety of it. I think it's going to be a little bit harder to do so. There's just with the pitching staff that he does have around him. I don't see the Mariners pitchers, one of them being the elite status to go put up the numbers to be a Cy Young. I don't see Luis Severino putting up the numbers necessary to win a Cy Young as well. I think he could probably be the one that could get closest. If I had to say Mackenzie Gore, if I agree with you, I think Luis Severino is probably the next in that category that can take off, because he's another one that did pitch really well in WBC as well. He looked really good. The arm looked strong, and he was a horse in that for them as well. So I think that you could really sit there and say Severino has that opportunity to be that pitcher that just takes off. And everybody's been waiting for him to throughout his career. He finally has maturity in him to take off to the next level. Maybe he has the ability to do it, put the numbers up. So if I had to say a pitcher of this, I think Severino or Gore are probably the closest ones that you could look at and say, yes, that they're Cy Young candidates.
Whoa. I'm looking at NL MVP odds. Shohei's minus 150. Ronald Acuna Jr. is plus 1,000.
Yes.
I'm putting money on that. On Acuna. I think we could get a Michael Jordan-esque vote with Shohei if Acuna has the year that we all think he's going to. Where everybody will say Shohei's got it the last 2 years. He doesn't deserve it. Or he deserves it, but we don't want to give it to him. We'll give it to Acuna. It's interesting. Nick Kurtz is sixth on the board in the American League, behind Roman Anthony.
Interesting.
Which I don't get. Vlad, it's Judge, Witt, Raleigh, Guerrero, Roman Anthony, Nick Kurtz. I don't get the Roman Anthony love. Only because he had a great World Baseball Classic. I don't get that. Kurtz and Acuna are going to get bets from me after the show.
All righty. So, final division, AL West, 1 through 5. How do we see it shaping up?
Texas 1, A's 2, Mariners 3, Astros 4, and that other team 5.
I'm trying to convince myself not to with the Rangers. I do think they are the more talented team. So I will say Rangers 1, A's 2, Mariners 3, Astros 4, and then the Angels 5.
Yeah, Rangers 1, A's 2, Mariners 3. You know what? I'll go Angels 4, Astros 5. Fall off a cliff, Houston.
You hater. You're such a hater.
No, for real, I will say Astros 4, Angels 5, because the Angels are just probably the worst run organization in baseball, in my opinion. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Would you pick the Astros?
I'll officially they're at 4. Officially, I'll put them 4th.
I can see it.
Because I think potentially the Angels could be the worst team in baseball this year.
Is this the year that Trout does get traded?
He should.
No, I don't think so. He wants to stay in LA. I don't think he gets traded. I think he stays. He's got the 10-5 clause too, so he'd have to agree to a trade.
If you're in last place again, do you just sit back and go, "Look, I love this. I love my time here, but it's time to go
to get a ring. It's time for me to get a ring."
Come on, like I get, like you talk about the most. I understand and I respect the loyalty he has to a fan base, and he wants to be there for his remaining of his career. But my goodness, looking at the roster. I mean, Zach Neto is going to Zach Neto is really good. He's going to I think he's going to take a big step forward as well. He had a good season last year. You're hoping that he can take a big step forward, but at the same time, you have guys who just never pan out. Joe Adell is not the player that they were hoping he would be. He's been he's having a good spring right now, but what are you going to get out of him at the regular season?
See, John,
Financially, they're still suffering from the Pujols trade. They're still suffering from the Rendon contract.
But here's the problem: the Angels are going to ask for a king's ransom for him, and teams aren't going to give that up with a guy like this. That's the whole problem. So I don't see him moving, even if he wants to.
Don't worry, they'll spend all their picks on pitchers. They're not going to get anything to help their offense.
They can't develop anybody. Their minor league system's got to be the worst in baseball.
The 1 year that all 24 of their draft picks were all pitchers, none of them made it into the major leagues. Like,
no,
what the hell?
No, you can't trust them.
I mean, if you're Trout, you've got to say enough's enough.
I would think so. I would think so. I mean,
they're going to ask for.
Remember the comments when they signed all these guys? Oh, Anthony Rendon's coming. He's going to be a great teammate. He's going to protect me. He's going to be in the back. No, he didn't do any of that stuff. I mean,
he's just living off that. He's just living off that. He's just living off that 2019 World Series.
You're talking about almost 20 years of wrong moves that this franchise has done.
The one move they got right was Vlad Guerrero. That was the last good move that they made.
Well, I'm saying that ever since when they won the World Series in 2002, since that time, they've made wrong move after wrong move after wrong move.
Yeah.
15.
I was going to say, looking back at it now, Vlad had better success in Texas than he did with the Angels.
Yes.
Because at least he got to two back-to-back World Series.
It's just the Angels are such a dumpster fire. Them and the Rockies, two teams. I mean, the dumpster fire, total dumpster fire.
Perfect example. Look what happened to Josh Hamilton when he got signed to the Angels.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far with it because there was greater issues with Hamilton. Again, we talked about it.
Hamilton was in a spot personally where he needed people around him.
Correct.
The Angels did not provide him that. Like literally everybody on the Rangers roster, like from teammates to personnel, they would check up on Josh every single day.
Yeah, of course they. Yeah.
Well, there was, and again, I told you guys some of the things I've heard from a lot of people that were being with the Rangers. I heard some stories. There was a lot deeper. Like it wasn't necessarily the fact that they were protecting him, or they were keeping him in check. They had people there to protect him when he did.
Yes.
He messed up quite a few times in Texas. He messed up.
Mm-hmm.
He fell off the wagon a handful of times. They just hit it
They hit
well.
it really well. Really
They
well.
hit it very well. Michael Young being one of the reasons why. Ian Kinsler was being the other reason why. Like that, there's a lot of stories about Josh Hamilton at Uptown Dallas going to bars and clubs and doing things he should not have been doing in the middle of the night. But I'll give you a different name though.
When he was drunk when he got his Hall of Fame jacket in Texas.
Yeah,
I still remember that. That was hilarious.
But I'll give you another name. I'll give you another name though that basically caused this player to fall off with the Angels. CJ Wilson. CJ Wilson.
Yes.
He was a really good closer. He was a good starting pitcher for the Rangers too. Goes to LA and completely fell apart.
And then goes to Philly and kind of resurrects himself a little bit after that, I think. Well, did he go to Philly first before Texas? I think. Yeah, something like that.
Probably, but yeah, I mean,
you're thinking of
Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee's who I was thinking of. Yeah,
you're thinking of Cliff Lee.
Yeah,
yeah, because Cliff Lee was here, pitched great for us, and then he went to Philly.
So he was at Philadelphia first, went to Texas, and then went back to Philadelphia to finish his career.
That's right. Mm-hmm. The Angels are the place to go to end your career, basically, because they're not going to develop you. They're not going to, any draft pick that gets drafted there is not going to get developed. So they're never going to make the majors and make an impact.
I'm so glad Albert Pujols went back to St. Louis for that final year.
Yeah, I bet you he regrets leaving St. Louis to go to Anaheim. I bet you he regrets it.
It's 10 years of torture he'll never get back.
Exactly. So,
yeah, that's just the Angels organization in a nutshell.
Angels in the American League, Rockies in the National League. Those two organizations. So,
well, gentlemen, we've been on for 3 hours. We've covered the World Baseball Classic. We've covered all of Major League Baseball for 2026. Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Red Sox will win the World Series.
Who do you have them face, Scott? Who do you have them facing in the ALCS? Red Sox and who?
Red Sox Rangers.
Jonathan?
Red Sox Rangers.
For the American League?
ALCS, yep.
Red Sox Royals. Red Sox Royals in the ALCS.
Don't do it.
Scott and Tanner are going at each other. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna piss off Sam. I'm gonna say Guardians Rangers.
Guardians Rangers.
Just to be the oddball. Just to be the oddball. Scott, NLCS.
Well, Dodgers are going to be one. I'm going to say Braves. Dodgers, Braves.
Jonathan?
LA, we're ready for you again. Braves, Dodgers, NLCS. We beat y'all the last time in the NLCS. You got to come through us now again. Braves, Dodgers.
You know what? I'm going to throw another surprise at you. Braves, Reds.
Braves, Reds. So who's knocking the Dodgers out? Braves?
Braves in the DS.
Interesting on that.
And just like you called the Dodgers out, my World Series prediction, Jonathan, bring it on. Rangers, Braves.
Show's going to be unbearable with Reds. Can't believe it.
Scott, you said Red Sox, Dodgers?
I said Red Sox, Dodgers. Actually, you know what? I'm changing it. Red Sox, Braves.
Oh, we're both calling him out. Oh, God.
Bring him on, baby.
Now, what was the other? I know y'all, or at least I know we have.
He's gonna pick
Alan,
the one.
I think Alan, I think you are. I know Sam is as well. I know y'all some wrestling fans, so I'll use a quote from one of the. You want some? Come get some. Both of y'all. It doesn't matter. Whoever y'all line them up, we're gonna knock y'all down. I'll go with this though. Braves Red Sox. Braves Red Sox in the World Series.
Mm. And if that turns out to be the case, this show is going to be great this year.
If two of our teams are in the World Series, this is going to be really good. It's going to be really good.
Scott, fall start tomorrow, and then of course, Rec Room, ESPN 690 as well.
Kicks it off for me at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then fall start Thursdays we'll be going over guards, top 5 guards.
I mean, that's your favorite subject, Scott. That's your
I know that. And then Friday, I'll probably make an appearance in the hoop Friday night, and then lock it in this weekend. I think we're doing it Saturday. I'm not sure, but I think that's the plan. So, I get something to do every day now. So since I'm on vacation. So,
Jonathan, how things going down in Coastal Bend there?
Man, we're rolling right now. We're in a little bit of a rut. We had a rough weekend. Pitching's been kind of rough for us right now, so we're trying to dig out a little bit. We are still in the playoff hunt for our conference tournament. We're still in good position to do so. We're just getting a little bit of the young side with our team, so we're kind of dealing with some adversity, which is going to happen in baseball. Baseball, you have your moments of highs, you have your moments of lows. So we're trying to figure out ways to keep our heads up, our morale up, and we have a game. We played back. We're back at it tomorrow. We're at home tomorrow for a conference game. Looking to be able to turn it around. We have our big stud pitcher from the Dominican on the mound tomorrow. Dude, like I say, 6'5", 240 that throws 95 to 97. So we're excited. We love when we get the chance to see this big boy on the mound. He gets to go on the mound for us to compete. So we know every time we have him on the mound, we have a chance to go out and win. So we're working on some different things. We're trying to get through this, and I think we take care of business tomorrow. We understand we can right the ship and get back to it and be on the winning ways. So, but like I said, we're still in good position. We're still in the hunt for conference tournament. We just got to be able to take care of business tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And as Scott mentioned, check out Rec Room Sports show on ESPN 690 Jacksonville. That'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern. I unfortunately won't be able to be on because I'm going to be traveling from work, and that's about an hour drive. So I will be moving potentially this weekend. So I'm excited for that. This might be my last show in this apartment, depending on what happens on Friday. Tomorrow and Friday. So excited for the new change of scenery, and obviously with the new job and everything, we're moving on up. So and that also means that Saturday might be in question for me as well, because I'll be trying to move things over. So at the very least, my goal is to get fully moved in by the middle of next week. So if that comes to pass, so hopefully my first full show in the new apartment will either be next week's ESPN show or lock it in over the weekend. So,
by the way, off of baseball, Miami, Ohio is up by 7 with 20 seconds left in the NCAA play-in. So they look like they're moving on. So everybody that doubted them can take a bite and go Hawaii against Arkansas tomorrow.
Go Hawaii. Yep.
Go Hawaii.
Definitely.
That's
Anything else? Yeah. Anything else, gentlemen, before we end off tonight?
No, I think we've been on long enough, haven't we? 3 hours and 20 minutes almost.
Yeah. A lot of bickering, a lot of challenging, a lot of great things to come in 2026. Can't wait to see how it unfolds. When is opening day? When is opening day? Is it in a couple weeks?
No, it's
next weekend.
Next weekend, next Thursday or Friday, I think, is opening day.
Next Thursday.
Yeah.
All right. So we might try, if I'm get everything moved in, we'll try to do a Wednesday show. If I can't, then we'll probably try to work it. Our opening day show in a couple weeks, where we'll give our first official power rankings, our first official top 10 for the season. Which that's for those who haven't seen this show, that's a thing that we always love to do.
Rockies 1, Angels 2, White Sox 3.
Here we go. But yeah,
oh, you mean top 10, not bottom 10. Oh, I'm sorry.
So yeah, I'm about to lose my voice. Anyway, if we can't do it next week, that'll be in a couple weeks. Once the season gets underway, we'll give our first official power rankings of the season, and then we'll go from there. We'll baseball's back, y'all. We had some great baseball in the WBC, and we got a full season of waiting for us. So can't wait for it.
I'm already ready for the WBC. Yeah, for the 2029 WBC. I'm ready. That's so awesome. I love it. That's the greatest tournament.
I agree. It stinks that these players have to come off that high of a tournament and go back into spring training for a week and then start the season. It's like, okay, I got to come all the way down. Oh, I got to ramp it back up. It's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If they can find a way to do the World Series in some capacity, and again, I know it was different. It was a championship game on how they did the intro. But if they can find a way to make that be the case for the World Series in kind of a similar fashion,
awesome.
Man, that will always be the number one player intro ever done. Nothing can top it. That was just I loved it so much.
I'll probably go back and watch it before I go to sleep tonight. So.
The same.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of that.
I put the song, so the song they walked out to, I put that song on my workout playlist now too.
Oh, really?
I had to figure out who it was. I still don't even know who the person is, but I found the song, I downloaded it, I got it on my playlist. I was like, yeah, I got to. That was awesome.
I'll go see who it is.
All righty. Anything else, gentlemen, before we end off?
No, good. Let's go to bed. Good night, guys.
Go to bed. Good night, Spotify. Guys, have a great week. We will be back, hopefully, here pretty soon. If not next week, and in a couple weeks. Until then, love y'all. Stay safe. Have a great night. And take care.